And it looks like we are live. So, to everyone watching, thank you so much for joining us for Zooming the Movies presents Krampus. Now, we have an interesting version of the script here. It appears to be the shooting script, so it has some extra scenes and even a different climactic sequence. So if you've seen Krampus, you haven't seen this version. And I'm going to give all of our wonderful actors the chance to share the Facebook Live link to their own feeds. This is a really fun film, and after the year that 2020 has been, I think we all deserve a chance to vent a little bit of bitterness and frustration, so what better way to get all the humbugs out than to have some fun with Krampus. Now, if everyone is ready, I think that now is a good time to begin. I'm going to turn my video off, and then narrator, you can take us away with Krampus.
Krampus, written by Todd Casey, Michael Dougherty, Zach Shields, October 17th, 2014. Megamart night. Mobs of bargain hunters rampage through a sprawling warehouse megamart in extreme slow motion. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Credits and music continue over a montage of shoppers fighting to the death to save a few bucks. A frenzied mother knocks over an old lady to grab discounted cell phones. Two husbands fist fighting over video games are tasered by security guards as their mortified wives watch screaming kids on the lap of drunk mall Santa while their waspy parents yell at them to stop crying. Frazzled minimum wagers and elderly Salvation Army bell ringer nearly moved down by shopping carts, a toddler nursing a black eye, all the holiday insanity we see on the news every December, but up close and in horrifying detail. Finally, under the store's massive fake Christmas tree, a chorus of kids dressed in homemade holiday costumes, snowmen, elves, and sugar plum fairies. But most of the kids aren't singing because they're cheering at Max, now dressed as a reindeer, but poor Max is sprawled on his back, shielding himself as he pummeled by a brawny kid dressed as a shepherd. Teachers rush to pull them apart, while in the audience, Tom and Sarah Engel, Max's upscale, uptight parents, try to force their way through the horrified crowd while Max's older sister, Beth, gleefully records the Pine-Styles brawl on their phone. Credits end as the choir closes with these parting words, "Soon the bells will start, blah, 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 right within your heart. Fade in, Marley's ghost."
I am here tonight to warn you that you have yet a chance and a hope of escaping my fate. You will be haunted by 3 spirits.
In the Engels dining room at night, we pull out as A Christmas Carol plays on a small TV, continuing out past trays of fresh baked cookies until we settle on an old woman's hands kneading dough. Omi, pronounced Omi, German for grandma, a silver-haired old woman wrinkled by 7 decades of smiling. She is baking sugar cookies from scratch, enjoying the peace and quiet. But then Omi pauses. Something is coming. The noise. She sighs, bracing herself as the front door bursts open and the Engel family strolls in, overloaded with boxes and bags.
And you are going to write an apology for the rest of your class for ruining the recital. What were you thinking, Max? That kid was twice your size.
Max trundles in wearing his reindeer costume with an ice pack over one eye, still hurt and glum from the fight.
Yeah, but Ben Kuklinski is always ragging on Christmas. He even told the first graders that Santa was just a cheap marketing ploy invented to sell Pepsi.
Oh. Mac is trying to hide how upset he is, but his dad notices.
You know what I mean.
But not when you care.
Well, someone's gotta.
Let me see.
Ow, ow, ow.
It's not so bad. But come on, champ. Was drop kicking him into the manger really the best way to handle this?
I was under the influence. What? All we had to eat was Christmas fudge and candy canes.
Cute. Tom can't help but smile and tousle Max's hair. Max seems to cheer up, a beat of calm in the holiday chaos. Sarah unwraps a brand new framed family portrait.
Not to sound harsh, but every kid has to learn the truth someday. Beth, help me hang this.
No, I know. I just didn't want it ruined. For the little kids.
But something tells us Max is lying, both to us and himself. Tom changes the TV from A Christmas Carol to cable news, filling the house with terrorism and holiday crimes. He then looks at Omi's cookies and taps her on the shoulder.
These look great, Mom.
Uncle.
But don't work too hard. I mean, Sarah already bought cookies at the store.
Omi's smile drops, clearly insulted. Tom's cell phone rings.
It's Roger.
I thought you said you weren't working over Christmas, Tom.
I said no traveling over Christmas. I still need to take a few calls. Yeah, hey, Roger, now's fine. What's up?
Annoyed, Sarah grabs the new family portrait and heads for the living room as Tom starts towards his den.
Hey, wait. Aren't we going to watch Charlie Brown who wrap presents together like always?
After what you pulled today, you can do it alone and fast because your cousins will be here any minute. No, that was for my kid. It's a Christmas cluster F over here.
Tom leaves as Max pulls off his antlers and slumps into a chair. Sympathetic, Omi helps him unroll gift wrap.
Thanks, Omi.
Omi dabs his nose with frosting and again speaks in German. Barely a strained whisper, it's difficult for her to speak.
Hast du etwas beendet?
Max shakes his head and we realize that he can understand her. In fact, other than Tom, Max is the only other family member who's bothered learning Omi's language. Max makes sure the coast is clear, then removes a letter from his pocket.
I started, but I don't know what to ask for this year.
Boom, boom, boom! The flinch had the sounds of hammering and shouting from the next room.
Because they're family, Beth, and it's only for a few days.
Last year, I found shit in my bed, Mom. Human shit.
For the last time, that was their dog.
Omi speaks.
Ich bin sicher, du würdest an etwas denken.
In the living room, boom, 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 framed family portraits bounce and clatter against the wall with each deafening hammer blow.
They're why some people shouldn't be allowed to breed. Your words, Mom, not mine.
I never said that! I said maybe they should have to take a test before they're allowed to breed.
And Sarah finishes hanging the portrait, obsessively readjusting it so it's just right. But scanning the line of annual holiday photos, she finally seems to notice something, and that is in this year's portrait. Santa Claus is ogling her daughter's butt. Excited young grins become forced smiles. The tight huddle around Santa turns into a loose grouping, a visual history of her family's disillusion from one Christmas to the next. Sarah's tense veneer softens, suddenly realize how their once cherished tradition has become an obligation. In the dining room,
Omi, do you really still believe in Santa?
Omi frowns as if remembering something she'd never forget. She tries finding the right words.
Na sicher, aber ich glaube auch, dass der heilige Nikolaus das ist, was sie ihn machen.
What do you mean?
An ihn zu glauben bedeutet, an den wahren Geist des Urlaubs zu glauben, der Geist des Gebens, von Opfer.
Well, she stares off, lost in a memory. Max watches with growing concern until...
Ich glaube auch an das Dessert vor den Abendessen.
Omi hands him a cookie. Max takes it with an uneasy smile, wondering what secrets his grandmother may be hiding. Angle House in the evening, a suburban mansion dotted with festive lights. But as the wind shrieks, we start creeping towards the house, strangely drifting through the air like some eerie point of view.
Well, at least your family cares enough to fight.
This disembodied point of view hovers outside a frosty attic window, watching Beth Skype with her boyfriend Derek. In Beth's attic bedroom in the evening.
Yeah, my cousins are crawling out of the shallow end of the gene pool, so everyone's a little on edge.
Your mom popping Xanax again?
Like candy. Tonight, we're making a Japanese snowflake tree of some shit. Takes a lot of work to make our family look more awesome than it actually is, you know.
Yeah, I like snowflakes, but I like my plan better.
Well, Derek holds up Gremlins and Die Hard DVDs with a bag of weed, then playfully flicks his tongue at her.
Very enticing. But I think I'm stuck here.
Come on, people escape from Alcatraz, and I'm only 4 blocks away.
Beth's face drops, hearing something bad.
What? What's wrong?
Her room rattles as deep rumbling builds outside. Beth cringes, quietly praying for it to go away.
Everything.
Tom's done. Same time, the rumbling shakes Tom's boring work trophies and photos. Best Ceramic Title Salesman 213, Incentive Marketing Leadership Conference 2011, Paradigm Shifters Jamboree 2009. Wincing at the noise, Tom sneaks some whiskey into the coffee, closes his eyes, and silently mouths, "Fuck." In the dining room, Max finishes his letter when ding dong, nonstop annoying doorbell ringing fills the house. In the living room at the same time, ding dong. Sarah pauses from her decorating, breathes deep, trying to keep it together.
It's Christmas. It's Christmas. It's Christmas.
Moments later, a door swings open and Sarah is now all smiles.
Merry Christmas!
And on the front doorstep, Linda, 4 kids and 3 part-time jobs have taken the shine off of Sarah's little sister. They hug awkwardly.
Merry Christmas, sis.
So glad you guys could make it.
Oh my gosh, you have no idea. Accidents all over the freeways, nothing but traffic and crazy talk radio for 6 hours. Oh, and here, we brought a little taste of home.
She hands Sarah a casserole dish filled with something brown and moist. Sarah's stiff grin only gets stiffer.
Wow, thanks. It looks just wow.
Move on in, Linda. No need to keep the traffic jam going now.
Red-faced, broad-chested, with a Santa hat over his hunting cap, Howard pushes his way inside with luggage and gifts crudely wrapped with magazines and newspapers.
Howard, let me help you with that.
But Tom misjudges the weight and is pulled to the ground when snarling jaws snap at his hand, revealing
Rosie, down, girl, down.
a fat bulldog named Rosie who helps the in-laws track mud and snow all over Sarah's shimmering floors.
Gave your butler the night off, huh, Tommy?
Tom smiles uneasily as 3 kids pile through the door. 2 husky boys step in first, Jordan 12 and Stevie 11. Both sport varsity jackets, gloom faces, and shaved heads.
Merry Christmas, girls. Don't you look cute in your matching jackets?
Well, holy shit, Jordan and Stevie are actually girls.
A little cranky because the Steelers lost. Jordan, Stevie, why don't you tell your Aunt Sarah about your Presidential Fitness Awards?
Max greets Pudgy Howie Jr., a mute mouth breaker with enough body fat to only need a football jersey for warmth.
Hey, Howie. So, what'd you ask Santa for this year?
Howie just stares blankly as Beth whispers to Max.
Dialysis?
Uncle Howard pulls Max into a painful headlock and noogie.
Maxi pants, still getting straight A's in detention?
Oh, Max twists loose, annoyed.
Christ on a stick! Would it kill you to shovel the walk? I could have broken a hip out here.
Sarah glances at Linda as if she invented a Nazi to pass over.
Guys, please don't be mad.
A dry gulch if there ever was one. Aunt Dorothy trudges inside looking for something else to bitch about. Sarah forces another smile and a stiff hug.
Aunt Dorothy, what a surprise.
Well, your sister's no Mother Teresa, but at least she swings by once in a while to make sure I'm not dead. Hey, where's your nog? I need to get married.
In the kitchen, help yourself.
Aunt Dorothy scowls at Sarah's decorations as she leaves.
What almighty. Looks like Martha Stewart's threw up in here.
Tom is about to close the door but stops and looks at Linda.
Wait, wasn't there another?
Linda smacks.
Oh, Chrissy, damn it, Jordan. I told you to bring her inside.
Not my kid.
Jordan elbows Stevie and points to the letter poking out of Max's back pocket, clearly addressed to the North Pole. Ideas brewing, the girls mischievously whisper to each other. Howard slaps Tom hard on the back, lurching him forward.
Come on, Tommy. Help me grab the baby. And the rest of the girl crap out of the truck.
A holiday roast is a surprise. Hemorrhoids are a surprise. She is a goddamn nightmare. What were you thinking?
Oh, come on, she's not that bad. And besides, she tricked me. I thought we were just dropping off some gifts, but she came to the door with a suitcase. What was I supposed to do? Leave her alone on Christmas?
No, but you could at least warn me when one of your mistakes is going to become my problem.
You think everything I do is a mistake.
Howard walks back inside carrying baby Chrissy, his arms outstretched like he's holding a bomb.
I think this warhead is armed.
Linda takes Chrissy as Sarah raises a brow at her sister. Point proven. Another defeat in a lifetime of lost arguments.
Guess I better go change her.
Tom and Sarah exchange a look, a brief private moment. He goes cross-eyed and Sarah shakes her head, smiling until...
So, what's for dinner?
Max sits on the steps, baffled by his bizarre family as we are in the Engel house. Again, a strange, disembodied point of view seemed to be watching the family, this time drifting inside the dining room windows. It watches them chat around an exquisitely decorated table. Music, candles, and gourmet food provide a stark contrast to the giant bottle of Mountain Dew Howard Jr. is chugging. In the dining room,
That's my boy.
a long, hot burp that follows blows away Max and Beth's appetites. Beth tries to behave, but catches a sharp glare from Sarah. Tom escapes into his phone when Howard elbows him.
Getting Howie Jr. into game shape. By the time he hits high school, he'll be the biggest lineman in the state. Ever even been on the field, Tommy?
Tom lamely attempts to man up as if he were a Navy SEAL.
Spent most of my younger years in training.
Yeah? Army? Marines?
Eagle Scouts.
Huh. That where you eat baskets, help little old ladies across the street?
Well, actually, there's a lot of survival training that we...
I'll tell you what, the only survival training I need is my old smoke pole and a box of 30-06 in the truck. Hey, Shepard's got to protect his family.
Howard, I thought we agreed no gun talk at the dinner table.
Baby Chrissy flings food to the floor where Rosie slurps it up. Sarah cringes, seeing this is like nails on a chalkboard.
Wow, it looks like Chrissy is really enjoying my gravlax.
Careful, kids. Your Aunt Sarah likes everything clean and perfect. That's why she cooks food you can't pronounce.
Well, I thought you guys might want a break from mac and cheese with hot dogs.
Linda shoots daggers at her sister, insulted.
Well, you're wrong. I mean, who doesn't at least make a ham on Christmas? What are you now, a joke?
Barely containing her rage, Sarah escapes to the kitchen. She gets up while Dorothy enviously eyes Omi's food, a special meal of mashed potatoes, turkey, and green beans. Meanwhile, the kids have their own tense conversation.
Hey, Maxie Pad, you hear what happened to Santa?
Oh, Max sighs, knowing what's coming. He looks to Beth for support, but she glances away, leaving him to die.
No, Jordan, what happened to Santa?
I'm Stevie. She's Jordan.
Heard it on the news. His sleigh crashed in the Rockies, shattered both his legs. Frostbite took care of his pain.
But not his hunger. And so to survive, he had to slaughter and eat his reindeer.
Including Rudolph.
She dangles a slice of meat from her mouth.
8 tiny reindeer. Get it?
Oh, Max tenses and Beth grabs onto his arm.
Don't start anything.
In the kitchen, Sarah crisps up the creme brulee with a small torch, muttering,
Macaroni and cheese and hot dogs. Jesus.
So why the heck does Omi get real food while the rest of us have to suffer through your duck pate?
Startled, Sarah flinches and burns her finger on the torch. She turns to Aunt Dorothy, pouring herself more eggnog.
You know how this fancy stuff clogs up my pipes?
Well, how about next year we'll go to your trailer for Christmas, And after you've spent weeks decorating and cooking and cleaning, I'll just waddle in and start bitching and moaning about everything you've worked so hard on. No, please, Aunt Dorothy, for your sake, stay the hell out of my kitchen.
Aunt Dorothy leaves. A slap in the face would have stung less. Back in the dining room, Max is on the verge of exploding from his cousin's jabs.
We know you still believe in the big fat creeper.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Grinning wide, Stevie pulls out Max's letter. Max checks his pockets, realizing they swiped it.
You sure about that?
Mortified, Max tries to get it, but Beth holds his back.
Max, stop.
He struggles as Stevie stands and clears his throat, reading.
Dear Santa, I know I haven't always been great this year. I'm sorry for that, but I was really hoping that you could help me out this Christmas. Me and my family, we need you. Aw, Maxie Pad, that's so sweet.
Knock it off!
Max breaks loose from Beth and tries to tackle Stevie, but Jordan holds him back. Tom senses where this is heading.
Come on, guys, come on. Hey, Howard.
Oh, come on. They're just playing, Tommy.
Blah, blah, blah. Bullshit, bullshit. Here we go. Max's wish list. I wish my mom and dad would fall in love again. I know they get upset a lot, but with dad away from home so much, I think they really just miss each other.
This freezes Tom in his tracks. The room falls silent except for Max, wildly kicking as Jordan keeps him pinned down.
Get off me!
Stevie, stop. That's enough.
Wait, you're in here too, Beth? I wish me and Beth could just hang out like we used to. You might have noticed that I don't really have a ton of friends. Oh, no, really, Max? Also, I wish things weren't so hard for Uncle Howard and Aunt Linda, so maybe you could just lend them a hand for the rest of the year.
Howard and Linda's faces are flushed with embarrassment. Stevie's tone changes, suddenly hurt.
And screw you! Dad does not wish we were boys.
An awkward beat as Sarah proudly enters with dessert.
Who wants some creme brulee?
Max bites Jordan's hand and breaks for Stevie, who punches him, knocking him on his ass. Both girls pile on Max as he fights back with all he's got. Even Howie jumps in. Tom and Howard struggle to pull their kids apart.
Max, calm
Oh,
down.
come on, Tommy. Boy's got to learn to fight his own fights or he'll get eaten alive. Come on, school. I mean...
Omi watches as Max grabs the letter and stands up. His heart, his last shreds of childhood innocence now broken.
I just wanted Christmas to be like it used to be, but forget it. I hate Christmas. I hate all of you.
He storms off.
Max? Max!
But he's gone. Sarah looks at Tom, urging him to handle it.
I'll lay off him. Kid ought to get a prize for telling the truth.
In Max's room, he sits at his desk, staring at the letter. A knock.
Can I come in?
No.
Tom bears a peace offering of milk and cookies and sits.
You know, they're leaving right after Christmas. So we only have to survive another 3 days.
Every year it gets worse. Why do we have to put up with their crap just because we share DNA?
Because that's what a family is, Max. People you try to be friends with, even if you don't have a whole lot in common.
But why?
Because, well, okay, you kind of got me there. Or maybe it makes us work a little harder to find what we do have in common, you know? Put everything aside and think of other people for a change. Friends, family, even the assholes you normally can't stand.
Like Uncle Howard.
I didn't want to name names.
Dad, you really believe all that?
I want to, Max.
Tom tinkers with an advent calendar on the wall.
And hey, I bet it's not too late to drop that letter in the mailbox.
Tom leaves as Max stares at the letter, contemplative. In the dining room, Max starts to sign the letter, a glimmer of faith still visible in his young eyes, but then, rip. Heartbroken, he tears the letter in half, and tears it again and again until he can't tear it anymore. Max then opens the window and throws the pieces outside. But instead of falling, the shreds of the letter are pulled up into the night air by a sudden gust of wind. Max watches as they swirl higher and higher into the moonlit sky. Satisfied, he closes the window when he notices snow. Just some flurries at first, and a trickle that gives way to full snowfall. Puzzled by the timing of it, Max closes the blind, while in the above sky we see thick, rolling clouds, massive, unearthly, ominous, and somehow forming directly above the Angle house, spreading over the surrounding homes like a biblical storm. Heavy snow and eerie winds start filling empty streets, knocking over decorations, bending tree branches. Frost spreads across the windows like skeletal fingers. Christmas lights swell to a bright glow, then pop off. And from above, we watch as the Angle house and the entire neighborhood is engulfed by darkness fade into the advent calendar. Max's hands open the next compartment. December 23rd, revealing a drawing of a snowman. The window, opaque from frost. Then a blurry hand wipes it away to reveal Max gawking at a blizzard. Cars, houses all covered in 4 feet of snow, icicle-covered trees and power lines. Shrieking wind and sleet fill this air as if an Arctic storm swallowed suburbia. Max is stunned, and it might be the next morning, but you wouldn't know it because the sun can barely penetrate the thick clouds and fog, drenching everything in a dark, hazy gray. Suddenly, a snowplow rumbles through the fog to reveal a grinning snowman in the middle of the yard. Only it's facing the house, almost as if it's watching them. Odd. In the kitchen, slightly unnerved, Max turns from the window to find his family in a growing state of panic.
You don't find it the least bit strange?
Sarah wears pajamas under a winter coat, uselessly adjusting a thermostat. We can hear the shrieks and hollering of their cousins from the living room.
I mean, they can see dust specks on Mars, but no one noticed a giant blizzard hurtling towards us?
Well, when the power comes back, you can send an angry email to the National Weather Service. In the meantime, let's try and stay calm.
Sarah ignores Max, too busy checking a faucet for hot water.
There's something weird outside.
I am calm. I'd just be calmer if I knew how we're going to survive Christmas with 12 people stuck in a house with no heat, hot water, or electricity.
Or food.
If you grab a stool and a spatula, I'm sure you can scrape some pate off the ceiling, Howard.
Here it is.
Phone is down too.
Mom!
What, Max?
There's a snowman in our yard.
Tom and Sarah squint outside to see the snowman in questions, but clearly aren't concerned.
That's great, Max.
Who built it?
I can barely see across the street, but it doesn't look like it's just us. Could walk over and check on the Turners.
The Turners are in Hawaii. The Lamberts are in Florida, and the Cartwrights stopped talking to us after Max's noodle incident.
After his what?
Sarah spots Omi fiddling around in the fireplace.
Max, would you please get Omi out of there before she burns the whole house down?
Max rolls his eyes and does as he's told. Suddenly, knock, knock. Someone's at the door. Sarah sighs, now what?
I'll get it.
In the foyer, Linda opens the door to a dark, hooded figure. She gasps, but the figure pulls back his hood to reveal a FedEx guy.
Oh, Merry Christmas. Signature?
Linda looks down to see a pile of boxes.
Howard, stuff to carry. Some weather, huh?
Yeah, it's a ghost town out there. Roads are a nightmare and half the state's buried with even more on the way.
As she sighs, Linda also notices a large bag overflowing with more gifts, all wrapped in beautiful, ornate parchment.
Those two?
Not mine. Must be the boys in brown. Merry Christmas.
Sup?
Look, they got even more stuff.
Man, how come rich people get all the free shit?
In the kitchen, Beth enters, the cell phone glued to her hand.
I've texted Derek like 9 times and he still hasn't texted back. That's not normal.
The blizzard, honey. Nothing's working right now.
Then can I walk over and check on him? It's only a few blocks away.
I don't think that's a good idea.
I could see if anyone else has power on the way.
And Dorothy looks up from a tabloid.
You know, you kids don't have a damn bit of patience. When I was your age, I waited for 2 years while my boyfriend was off fighting Charlie.
1 hour. And when you're back, I want you to spend some girl time with Jordan and Stevie. Got it?
We follow Beth's mortified gaze to Jordan viciously wrestling Stevie in the living room. Howie Jr. cheers him on as Howard tosses the bag of ornate crisps under the tea.
Right.
You know what I mean. Just be careful, okay?
I'll be back later.
1 hour.
And Beth is already out the door. Sarah turns to see Omi still tinkering with the fireplace while Mac watches, not doing anything to stop her.
Max, I told you to get Omi out of...
Omi rises and pours hot water from an old kettle she had in the fire into a tray of mugs. She mutters as Max translates.
Heiße Schokolade macht's alles besser.
Hot chocolate makes everything better.
Embarrassed, Sarah stands down as Omi offers the hot cocoa to the room, melting away everyone's tensions for now.
About time someone did something right around here.
At the window, Max watches Beth disappear into the fog. He then looks at the mysterious snowman again, unease creeping over him. Snow whips past the window, becoming a vast expanse of white. Then a tiny speck appears. Beth, up to her knees in snow, freezing. The fog is so thick that Beth can barely see more than a few feet in front of her. She stops to look around, disoriented. The borders between the yards and streets have been erased. The whole neighborhood is oddly desolate, silent, dark. Ribbons, wreaths, and other decorations are strewn everywhere, and other than the wind, it's quiet enough to hear the creaking and crackling of the ice-covered trees. Beth looks for signs of life in the passing houses. Nothing, not even smoke from chimneys. Weird. Then she hears something else, quite scraping, the nails on a chalkboard screeching, unnerving. Beth looks around, trying to find the source. No luck. So she keeps walking, Now a little more nervous. Screech! There it is again. What the hell? Beth stops and peers into the fog, trying to see when a deep roar makes Beth jump out of her boots. She turns as the fog clears long enough to reveal a neighbor trying to start his truck. He then goes back to the scraping ice for his windshield. Screech, screech, screech. Beth sighs, relieved, barely audible over the wind.
Hey, do you guys have power?
His head is wrapped in a hood and scarf. The neighbor silently shrugs and shakes his head. No. Beth waves, then marches onward while the neighbor's silhouette begins to fade into the fog behind her. But as soon as Beth takes a few more steps, the wind howls louder and we hear a muffled yelp. She turns back and the neighbor is gone. Only his red scarf remains.
Hello?
It's as if he vanished into thin air. Confused, but assuming the neighbor went inside, Beth turns and keeps going. Around the corner moments later, Beth walks along a freshly plowed stretch of road when she hears a faint sound under the wind. Sleigh bells. She stops to listen. They're getting closer, as if reindeer might come tromping by at any moment. Even weirder, it sounds like they're coming from above. But as quickly as they came, the bells are overtaken by the wind again. Beth struggles off, suddenly distracted by blinking Christmas lights on his distant house, an oasis of color among the gray. Apparently, someone has electricity.
Thank God.
Hopeful, she quickens her pace, but then the next house, its light flicker on top, tiny colored beacons pushing through the wind, even better. And then a third house, more lights, even closer. Beth stops, seeing something isn't right when a loud thump startles her, followed by a faint breathing, deep and raspy. Beth squints through the haze. The house is about 30 feet away, and in its rooftop, she spots a stranger in a long hooded coat, crouched near the chimney, but silhouetted by fog. It's impossible to see him clearly.
Hello?
The stranger doesn't reply, doesn't move. He simply watches from the rooftop, his hot breath swirling in the frigid air. Maybe someone checking his chimney. But as Beth gets closer, something about this man feels very, very off. She stops to get a better look as the stranger stands, frighteningly tall, easily 7 feet, a sinewy yet hulking mass drenched by fog and shadow. We can barely make out his dark crimson robes, like tattered fur pelts dyed with blood. Flickering Christmas lights illuminate a little more of him, just enough to make out an ashen beard, tangled and matted, encrusted with dirt and ice, and slung over his shoulder a huge leather sack, a weathered patchwork of animal hides blotched by dark stains and filled with God knows what. Like an obscene vision of St. Nicholas, the stranger cocks his head, gazing at Beth, hissing. Then just as we're wondering how someone that big got on the roof, he silently leaps straight into the air, briefly disappearing into the stratum before whomp, he lands in the house right behind Beth. More lights flicker. Somehow he's causing this.
Oh my God!
Beth smartly runs as the stranger leaps again, lands in another house, chasing her from the rooftop, a preternatural predator playing cat and mouse.
Somebody help me! Please!
She glances back, seeing the stranger perched on a chimney, a leering gargoyle watching her, enjoying the chase. Beth screams and falls, digging herself out over and over, face wet with icy tears. Back of the stranger is scanning, but he's gone, vanished. Then Beth sees something ahead in the fog, the FedEx truck.
Oh God, help me!
She reaches the truck, tries the door frozen shut, peers through the door glass to see the FedEx guy inside, frozen, solid, mid-scream. Beth shrieks, but quickly covers her mouth, nervously glances around. No sign of the stranger in the fog. Thinking fast, she crawls under the truck. We stay under the truck as Beth lies perfectly still, tries not to breathe, trembles, listening. Just the wind. Then, whomp! The stranger lands outside the truck, starts circling, sniffing her out, taunting her with hissing breaths. Beth whimpers, watching his feet crunch the snow. No, They aren't feet. They're hooves. Steam rising with each step. Beth closes her eyes, crying, praying, and then the stranger leaves. His hooves abruptly lift straight off the ground with a gust of wind as if he just flew away. Beth listens, unsure. Is he gone or trying to lure her out? She quickly looks around and freezes. She sees a wooden jack-in-the-box placed in the snow a few feet away, faded like an antique. Its tiny crank starts rotating, playing an off-key Silent Night, and just as it reaches all is bright, ka-chunk! The lid snaps open. Beth isn't stupid. She slowly starts crawling backwards, inching away with this horrid little device. But then, inside the box, something stirs. We barely see the top, what might be a small head, swaying back and forth like a cobra rising from a basket. But before we finally see this creature, we are back on Beth's face. Terror filling her eyes as she takes on this unseen, unspeakable horror, and then from above, looking down on the truck, Beth screams, fills the air, loud and loud, only to be drowned out by the shrieking wind as we're back in Max's room. Max stares out the window when he suddenly spots two more snowmen in their yard, both facing the house, like the first one. But these guys look a lot less friendly, and they definitely weren't there a moment ago. Tom's phone died. No service.
Anything?
In the dining room, Sarah enters, hands Tom a sandwich. He's sitting by the window. It's getting darker outside, colder inside. We're starting to see their breath.
Strangest thing. No cars, no people, not even a salt truck. Don't suppose you got me a backup generator, do you?
Under the tree, next to your ties and underwear.
Sarah sits, wraps a blanket around both of them.
Hey, what time is it? Beth should probably be home by now, shouldn't she?
She's fine. She's at Derek's.
All the more reason to worry.
Hon, relax. Just for once, okay? How's everyone else doing?
Cranky, bored, sick of the cold, and each other.
Just the season.
Sarah smiles, leans her head on his shoulder. Tom seems surprised as if they haven't been this close in a while. He gives in to her, gently kisses her on the head.
I miss us.
Me too.
And then the wind roars, rattling the house. Frozen trees scrape the windows like phantoms.
How long can this keep up?
Not long. Not at this rate, anyway.
More wind, even harsher, and then distant sirens. Tom sees Sarah is worried. He is too, but hides it better.
At least we know someone else is out there.
Mom? Dad? It's almost dark out and Beth isn't back yet.
Tom and Sarah exchange a look, both of them thinking about Beth and the distant sirens they just heard. In the living room, the crackling fire, Alma adds some logs, then oddly sneaks a glance up the chimney, as if anxiously looking for something. The rest of the family is huddled under coats and blankets, junk food everywhere, Rosie the bulldog snoring on her back. Howard awkwardly feeds baby Chrissy a bottle while Howie munches on fruit cake. Dorothy shivers on the couch, nursing a flax and a good buzz.
Tell you what, if I was one of those bums freezing in the streets right now, I'd just end it.
Linda wraps a blanket around Stevie and Jordan, who are busy killing zombies on an iPad.
Christ, Aunt Dorothy.
What? Even on a nice day, you wonder why they bother.
Tom, Sarah, and Max enter, clearly worried.
Hey, Howard. Think your Hummer can get through this mess?
Cinda? Hell, I could point her due east. Hit the gas and be storming the beaches of Normandy by sunrise. What's up?
Beth. She went to her boyfriend's earlier, but should be back now.
See, let them out of your sight for 1 second and boom! Shotgun wedding.
Dorothy, please.
You ought to know.
Linda shrinks, stung by the truth. Max then notices Omi becoming agitated. Oddly so.
It's probably nothing, but I thought we'd pick her up and do a quick swing around town to see what's going on out there.
Little recon mission, huh? Thought you'd never ask.
As they turn to leave, Omi grabs Tom's arm.
Kein Aufenthalt, nicht gehen.
What? Why?
The hell's she all riled up about?
Warten, bis der Sturm vorüber ist.
She says not to go, that it's too dangerous and that we should wait until the storm is over.
Tom and Sarah exchange a concerned look as if this isn't the first time they seen Omi act irrationally.
Tom.
I got it. Hey, Mom. We have to pick up Beth, but Max and Sarah will take care of you while I'm gone, all right?
Omi shakes her head, tries to reply, but...
Mom, listen. Everything's going to be okay. I promise.
But Omi doesn't seem so sure, nervously biting her lip while Tom and Howard head for the door. Seeing how agitated she is, Max gently holds his grandmother's hand. Sarah and Linda watch from the doorway, hiding their unease as the Hummer roars to life and rumbles into the icy streets. High above the neighborhood at night, the Hummer is a tiny dot slowly navigating a dark, hazy maze.
Global warming my ass. Must be at least -20.
Thwip, thwip, thwip. Windshield wipers fight a losing battle with sleet and fog. Tom rides shotgun while searching for a radio channel, but only finds static.
Just doesn't make any sense.
Try AM.
I tried everything.
Guess the storm knocked out all the stations, too.
Yeah, I guess so.
And Tom finds something, the familiar long beep of the emergency broadcast signal fighting through hissing static. National Weather has a blood warrant in our central area, including Franklin County, but seek shelter. Neither man wants to admit how bad this sounds.
What I wouldn't give for some Bing Crosby right now.
Tom quietly agrees when he notices something outside.
Wait, slow down.
They see a wide path freshly cut through the street.
Looks like a plow came through.
The Hummer turns, followed by a plow trail. Misty headlights reveal cars buried under huge, sweeping snowdrifts. The Hummer continues along the carved path. It's almost like a frozen canyon with snow piled high on either side. Then the Hummer beams caught through the eerie mist to reveal the snowplow rammed into a tree.
Jesus H. Christ.
Tom and Howard climb out. They cautiously approach the crashed plow. Flashlights scan the driver's door, hanging open. The plow is empty. Tom finds a shattered windshield while Howard notices a trail of frantic footsteps scrambling around away from the crash.
Must have lost control somehow. Maybe smacked his head on the windshield and stumbled that way.
Tom checks inside, notices a photo of a man and his family clipped to the visor, wrapped gifts to the passenger seat, all covered in shattered glass.
I don't think it was his head that did that. Howard, look.
Now, Howard notices the gaping hole was punched inward. On Ed, Tom checks his phone again. No signal. Battery, 5%.
We gotta find Beth.
Snow's too high, Tom. Lucinda's a tough broad, but she ain't gonna cut through the rest of this mess.
Well, Derek's is only a few blocks away from here. Same as those tracks.
Howard is already walking back to the Hummer where he opens a lockbox to reveal a shotgun and a .357 revolver.
You packed guns on Christmas?
Hey, I ain't taking any chances. You know, be prepared, Boy Scout. Just point and shoot, my friend.
Kinda heavy.
Yeah, it's Linda's.
Howard slams the trunk shut, moving with Tom and Howard, flashlights following the erratic footsteps, looking like there was a struggle. Then the white snow becomes dotted with red specks, leading to a huge puddle of icy blood-soaked snow. Tom and Howard gawk at the frozen blood. Howard looks down, sickened to realize he's standing in some of it.
Sweet Lord.
Howard's about to puke or run as Tom kneels down, inspecting some shreds of clothing, a wallet and keys.
What forsaken neighborhood do you live in?
Tom pockets the wallet and keys and looks around at all the eerily quiet homes and notices front doors ajar, smashed windows, more erratic footprints leading from the porches into yards, but none of the tracks seem to make it past the sidewalks. Tom's mind is racing, thinking only of Beth.
Come on.
But
Tom keeps going. Howard reluctantly follows, gun raised, to glancing back at the puddle of frozen blood as we pop, hiss, a match lights an old Santa candle, his chubby face already melted into a demented scowl. In the living room, Sarah and Linda light candles, trying to keep things cozy. Max is trying to read a comic book, but keeps stealing glances at the Santa candle, oddly uneasy. His cousins snore nearby. Looking at the Christmas tree, Linda's eyes light up.
Oh my gosh. You had Mom's angel this whole time?
I thought you knew.
No. Oh, remember how we used to fight over who got to place her?
Yeah, and you fought dirty. Think I still have the scars.
Linda inspects the tree, touched to find an old handmade ornament and a faded photo of her and Sarah as kids.
Sis, you saved everything.
Yeah, I figured it's what Mom would have done, you know?
You always do everything right.
No, I'm just really good at making it look like I do. Truth is, there isn't a day that goes by where I don't wake up with one hand on the panic button.
Oh, come on, you. You've got everything. Your whole house is like one big Sky Mall catalog.
Yeah, but with Tom traveling, Max always holed up in his room doing whatever it is boys do, and Beth's spending all her time with Derek. Things can get a little, I don't know, quiet.
Grass is always greener, sis. Trust. I'd kill for some quiet. Look at me, 3 years younger, but somehow managed to squeeze out twice as many kids. Do that math.
I know, but you guys always seem so happy, like you could care less what anyone else thinks.
Oh, don't you dare say you're jealous.
No, it's nice to have some company, that's all.
The sisters smile, their first real conversation in years. Suddenly, the wind howls, rattling the house. Even the fire flickers. Max and his cousins perk up, alarmed when, thud! More wood lands on the hearth, piled on by Omi. She stokes the flame higher, checks the beat, adds another log.
Omi, try not to use up all the firewood, okay? We need to make it last.
But Omi waves her off. Yeah. Suddenly, scratch. From above, something on the roof. Everyone hears it.
Mom?
Probably just squirrels.
Scratch. They listen as it scurries towards the chimney. Rosie whimpers at the ceiling when wham! Something hits the roof. Bigger, heavier. Scratch. Scurry. All eyes are glued to the ceiling. Max notices Omi clutching the fire poker like a weapon, staring at the fireplace, then to herself. Then with a final massive boom that makes everyone jump out of their seats. Silence. It's gone.
See? Squirrels.
But Max can tell. She doesn't seem so sure.
Right. Probably playing with their nuts.
On the way to Derek's house, Howard anxiously trails Tom as they approach the front yard, pacing by an icicle-draped snowman, just like the one Max saw earlier, but even more grotesque.
I'm telling you, Tommy, these damn gangs wait for natural disasters. Then they swoop in like vultures and start looting. We got to get back and warn the others.
And we will. But first, we find Beth.
On the porch, they find the door smashed open, pummeled by something huge. Tom and Howard exchange a look, then raise their guns and enter Derek's foyer house. Flashlights reveal everything in shambles. Shattered ornaments, broken candy canes, crushed gifts, as if something shook the entire house like a snow globe.
Beth? Derek?
Howard waves at Tom using military hand signals, but Tom shrugs. He has no idea what Howard's saying. Hushed.
Said, I'll check upstairs.
Don't be stupid. We stick together.
They proceed down the hall into the house. Flashlights sweep the room. Glass crunches under their feet. The walls and floors are splattered with milk and blood. Howard takes photos of everything with his phone. Noticing the open refrigerator, Tom closes the door to find a gingerbread man pinned to the other side by a kitchen knife, its tiny face twisted in agony. Weird.
Whoever did this is one demented son of a bitch.
He snaps off one of the gingerbread man's legs and eats it. Someone's point of view watches Howard and Tom search the room, but this point of view is oddly small enough to hide under a table. Then a sound from the living room. Something moving. Tom and Howard follow it, but as they exit, something small darts across the kitchen and into the shadows. They find the room covered in snow, windows smash, smoldering logs and ash all over the living room floor. Tom inspects some broken toys next to the shattered photos, including Derek and Beth's prom picture. He picks it up, flooded with emotion.
We'll find her, Tommy.
Tom nods, holding it together as they continue their search. It looks like the fireplace exploded all over the room and it spewed ash. Tom spot claw marks, 2 long trails scraped along the floor and into the blackened hearth.
Maybe some poor sap fell into the fire, so...
Yeah, or dragged in.
Howard looks closer. Tom might be right, but wait.
Wait, what about...
Howard points to strange footprints in the ash.
I've hunted a lot of game in my day, Tom. Those are goddamn hooves. Big ones, too. Maybe an elk or a goat.
Yeah, but what kind of goat walks on its hind legs?
Howard snaps more photos when distant screams echo outside.
Beth!
Tom charges into the snow, listening to the shrieks as Howard struggles to keep up.
Tom, wait!
Tom reaches the street, spins around. Beth's screams seem to echo all around him, bouncing off the darkened houses.
Beth, where are you?
Her screams echo everywhere. Tom heads into the fog while behind him, Howard is to his eyes, wading through snow when he's stuck. His right foot won't move. Caught on something?
What the?
Crunch! Something under the snow bites into Howard's leg. Howard screams, flailing, drops his shotgun as he's tossed around like a rag doll.
Tom! Come on, help me! Help me!
We can hear the sounds of something unseen creature growling under the snow like a monster shark. Howard's then dragged away, about to get pulled under the snow when Tom hand lunges, grabbing Howard.
Hang on, Howard. Just hang on.
Yeah, something down there. It's got me. I think it's eating me.
And even in his chaos, Tom suddenly catches a glimpse of a dozen snowmen watching from the yards. They're perfectly still, but they are watching and smiling. And each time Tom's eyes dart to look at one, somehow impossibly, the snowmen seem to get closer. Tom is stunned.
God, Tom!
Tom snaps out of it, tries pulling Howard free again, playing a painful game of tug-of-war with whatever the hell is under the snow. All we hear is carnal grunts. Tom almost misses when crunch, the thing bites down again. Hot blood, the icy white. In a
it hurts. Pull me out. Come on, pull me out of here.
Tom Stanson, gun raised on Howard, action.
Tommy!
Pop, pop, pop. Tom fires, and on the 4th pop, the whole family in the living room springs to their feet, hearing the gunshots.
Suppose those were squirrels, too.
In the neighborhood streets, Tom is fired into the snow, missing Howard by inches. Then a painful, muffled cry as the unseen creature screeches and tunnels away under the snow like a demented Bugs Bunny. Tom grabs a shotgun, helps Howard to his feet. Howard cringes in agony and sees the bloody bite went on his leg.
What the hell was that thing?
I don't know, but we have to move now.
They take off, Tom supporting Howard as he limps along. Someone's point of view on a rooftop watches the men hobble through the street below, raspy breaths condensing into swirling clouds. They round a corner and both freeze in their tracks, gawking.
No, no, oh, God. Lucinda!
The Hummer is in flames and Howard is in tears, and then a long howl echoes in the darkness, inhuman and terrifying.
Why is this happening?
Christ, come on.
They keep going. In the Engels foyer, Sarah puts on a coat while Linda cradles the crying baby.
Where do you think you're going?
To find them. I don't like this.
What are you talking about? Howard and Tom know what they're doing. They're fine.
Are they?
Staring at Linda, hinting at the gunshots when...
Mom?
Sarah paused, sees Max looking at her helplessly.
Honey, I'll be right back. I promise. Just lock the door
The door
and...
bursts open. Tom and Howard shamble in and slam it shut again, locking every deadbolt and chain. They're trembling from the cold, their skin already frostbitten.
Max, get the first aid kit.
But Howard!
I gotta sit. I gotta sit.
Oh my God, where's Beth?
We heard gunshots.
I'll explain, but right now we need to keep everyone calm and...
Get away from the windows. Guns, swords, knives, pots, pans, round, whatever you can find.
Howard, not here.
Tom gestures to the frightened kids, wincing in pain. Howard does his best to calm down. Linda gasps at his wound.
Jesus, Mary and Joseph, what happened out there?
Nothing. It's just a scratch.
It looks like something bit you.
It's just a scratch. I must have stepped on a bear trap under the snow.
We don't have bears.
Hey, kids, why don't you go to the kitchen and make something to eat?
Oh, come on. You guys just don't want to tell us what's really going on.
All of you into the kitchen right now. And Dorothy, will you keep an eye on them?
Why me? I never liked kids, even when I was one.
Please.
Seeing the fear in the kids' eyes, Aunt Dorothy's heart starts to warm just a little.
All right. I'll show you guys how to make peppermint schnapps.
They follow her out, all except Max, who defiantly glares.
Max, go.
Max leaves as Tom approaches Omi at the fireplace.
Mom, will you please help them?
Omi is eerily calm, stoic. Something tells us she knows more than she's letting on. She nods.
Halte das Feuer heiß.
Tom thinks about this as Omi heads to the kitchen. The only house, only sign of life, is the Engel house. In the kitchen, candles are lit. Steve, Jordan, and Howard Jr. sit at the table, mesmerized as Aunt Dorothy mixes peppermint schnapps and hot chocolate, then stirs it with a candy cane.
See, a little sugar, a little spice. Makes everything nice.
He sips at smiles, sees them begging with their eyes.
All right, just don't rat me out.
Dorothy lets the kids pass around the mug, each taking a sip. Even she can't help but enjoy this quiet moment with them. At the doorway, Max tries eavesdropping, but only hears hushed whispers. Clanging silverware, then turns his attention to Omi, sorting through knives and meat cleavers, creating a pile of makeshift weaponry on the counter. A painful cry echoes from the living room. Max turns back to eavesdrop as Dorothy and the kids follow his lead. Howard writhes in pain while Tom applies antiseptic and bandages to the bite wound. Linda and Sarah are scrolling through Howard's phone, shocked by images of Derek's house.
What? Who did all this?
Your guess is as good as mine. Thought it might have been some kind of gang, but this, all that other crazy shit we saw out there, just don't add up.
Could be terrorists.
Yeah, sure. Maybe they traded suicide vests for pit bulls. Ow! Easy there, Tom.
And Beth?
Nothing. I thought I heard her for a second, but...
So she's still out there?
And we will find her, I promise. But first I need to make sure you guys are safe.
I don't care how long it takes, Tom, but we have to keep looking. Maybe pair up and take turns.
Tom pulls Sarah close and hugs her.
We can't go back out there. You see this? That took less than 4 minutes. And besides being sub-zero, there's someone tearing through all these fancy-ass McMansions, picking everybody off one by one. Hell, your whole neighborhood looks like a goddamn ghost town. As far as I can tell, we might be the only ones left.
We could leave, squeeze everyone into the truck, and just...
Not Lucinda's gone too. Even if she wasn't, these streets are beyond screwed.
Tom nurses the fire, keeping it hot, just like Omi said to.
Howard, how much ammo do you have?
Couple shells, still loaded. Another dozen in my pocket. Why?
Tom checks his pistol. Only a few rounds left.
I think our best bet is to stay out for now. Board up the doors and windows. If we're smart and stick together, we can ride this out.
The others aren't as sure, but it's the best plan they have.
Might want to put that fire out for a while. We're at it, Tommy. Nothing says, hey, come murder us, like a big cloud of smoke.
Linda and Sarah exchange a nervous look.
They already know we're here.
What do you mean?
We heard something earlier. Maybe someone walking around on the roof.
Nervous beat as everyone glares at the ceiling.
Told you we should have gone to my...
Oh, sure, Howard. Christmas on a pig farm.
Hey, Jesus was born in a barn?
Knock it off. What about the kids? What do we tell them?
Oh, the truth?
Sure. Which version?
Sneeze, and everyone turns to see the kids peeking from a doorway, and Dorothy too, all more frightened than ever.
Hey, how much did you guys just hear?
Enough.
The kids run to Linda's arms.
Mom, did someone take Beth?
They coming for us?
Don't be silly. Beth is just with her boyfriend, and we're all going to be fine. See, you've got your whole family here, and besides, it's Christmas, right? Nothing bad's going to happen on Christmas.
Linda wishes her words were more comforting. She hugs her kids and looks at Sarah, trying to hold it together. Dorothy sits next to Howard and offers up some painkillers. He's surprised by the gesture, but takes it. Cheers.
Well, I guess the cat's out of the bag.
Hiding her anguish, Sarah turns to gaze out a raging storm. Tom approaches, doing his best to console her.
We'll find her, honey. I promise.
Max and Omi solemnly watch their struggling family, while outside the screeching wind crescendos as we ka-chunk, ka-chunk. A nail gun boards up windows with plywood. Howard and Tom work together, turning 2x4s into bracket barricades for the front door while Howard Jr. helps. In the kitchen, Max shows Stevie and Jordan how to operate some kerosene lamps, while Dorothy makes some sandwiches. The kids gawk, surprised by the gesture. In the garage, Linda and Sarah gather firewood, flashlights, binoculars, candles, axes, bats, and other equipment. A stock liquor cabinet opens. Aunt Dorothy gazes at the liquor bottles, beaming like a kid in a candy store. And in the dining room, food supplies and weaponry are neatly laid out. Tom looks over everything, hoping it's enough, when Max suddenly scampers by with Tom's laptop bag. Confused, Tom follows him into the living room where Max removes a portable travel battery and plugs it in the tree, filling the room with soft white light. Touched, the family stares in awe, basking in its warmth, and all while this is happening, we see Omi keeping to herself, keeping the fire tall and hot. The wind moans in the Angle house at night. Windows are dark and boarded shut, but then, inexplicably, we hear the familiar and comforting sounds of the Charlie Brown Christmas.
And lo, the angel of the Lord came upon them, and they were so afraid.
The living room at night.
And the angel said unto them, Fear not, for behold, I bring you tidings of great joy.
We reveal that it's not a TV, but Linda's iPad. The girls are camped out in front of of it wrapped in blankets while Howie munches on a fruitcake, offers it to Jordan.
Gross. How can you eat that crap?
Howie shrugs, keeps eating. Sarah enters with more pillows.
Won't the battery die?
Gotta go sometime. Might as well enjoy it.
You're telling me.
Dorothy swishes a brandy glass, already half asleep.
Been a while since we had a slumber party.
Yeah, first one asleep gets her hand dipped in warm water.
That never actually worked, did it?
We could find out.
The women quietly left, but Linda sees her sister's smile fade fast, obviously still anxious.
Hey, Beth's a tough girl. Takes after her mom. I'm sure she's fine.
That smile returns, grateful.
Thanks, sis.
At the windows, Tom and Howard use binoculars, peering outside through slits between the boards. Howard looks like he wants to say something, finally musters up the courage.
Hey, Tom, I wanted to say thanks for, giving my ass back there.
Oh, sure, no problem.
Tom is taken aback by this little bonding moment.
And, sorry for thinking you were such a spineless dick all these years.
This is news to Tom. Howard reads his surprise.
Now look, I know you don't think much of me either.
No, Howard, you're...
Linda's life sentence. That's what her dad called me at the wedding. Still, that's how you see my life. I promised myself I wouldn't be the loser everyone thought I'd be, but now, here I am.
A loser would have walked out 10 years ago, Howard. What matters is you're always there for them. That you come home every night to see your wife and put your kids to bed. I mean, at least you're not spending half the year in hotels and airport lounges. And I'm not saying that just because you're holding a shotgun.
Howard smiles, oddly moved.
Thanks, Tommy.
Max joins them, eating a cookie.
You should get some sleep, champ.
How?
Good point.
Mac spots the eerie snowman outside, now covered in sharp icicles, their grins sending chills up his spine.
Dad? Are we gonna die?
Tom and Sarah exchange a look, then calm and collected.
No.
Thud! They see Omi toss more logs into the fire.
Omi's been acting different ever since the storm.
Yeah, but she always gets weird around Christmas.
How come?
Don't know. She never wanted to talk about it.
Max considered this when, boom! The entire house shakes. Flashes of light burst through the boards. Everyone screams, hits the deck. Christy now awake and crying.
What the hell was that?
Sure as hell wasn't fire.
Everybody stay down.
Fireworks.
Tom and Howard carefully climb back up to the windows. A binocular point of view of fiery glow on the horizon. Plumes of smoke.
Looks like some kind of explosion.
Hey, what's out that way?
Main Street.
The kids flock out to Linda and Sarah. Near hysterics, the women comfort them despite their own splintered nerves.
Shh, it's all right. It was far, far away from us, okay? It's okay.
But Tom spots something else on the horizon. The pink glow of streetlights in flickering electricity.
Hey, looks like somebody still has power. Maybe the Mega Mart?
Could have been a gas line. Some poor bastard trying to turn his heat back on.
Or maybe it was them.
I think I'm more worried about what I'm not hearing. No sirens, no police or fire. So where is everyone?
They listen. She's right. Dead silence.
Guys. Hey, how about we finally get some sleep? Maybe tomorrow we can open some presents early if you're good.
The kids relax and climb back into their sleeping bags. Howie nuzzles up against Aunt Dorothy, who reluctantly lets him. Howard and Tom watch as Linda and Sarah tuck everyone in. A moment of calm and the surreal chaos.
You know, Linda and I might butt heads, but I can't imagine life without her. I mean, she has a way with the little ones that I'll never understand.
Tom looks at Sarah, more in love with her than ever.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
They're all huddled next to a crackling fire, probably the closest this dysfunctional family has ever been.
We should stay up and keep watch, make sure the neighborhood doesn't come crashing down.
Good idea. I'll go first.
You catch some winks with your family. Besides, about time I put some of my reserve training to good use.
You sure?
Click, clack. Howard checks his shotgun. Good to go.
Shepard's got to protect his flock.
Howard settles next to the window, gun raised and ready as we see Howard slumped in his chair, snoring. Linda's iPad plays a quiet and haunting rendition of Silent Night as we glide past the sleeping family. Linda, on the floor, surrendered by her kids like a mother hen, Omi asleep on the chair clutching the fire poker. Holy infant, so tender and mild. Aunt Dorothy on the sofa, nestled protectively with Howie. Tom, Sarah, and Max huddled together on the floor. Sleep in heavenly peace. Sleep in heavenly peace. The music lulls us into a sense of serenity at last until the iPad battery finally dies, and then silence. We can only hear the family's soft breathing and a ticking clock. But something is missing, something crucial. The fireplace. With no one watching, its flames have been reduced to smoldering embers. Still asleep, Max shivers and pulls his blanket tighter. We can see everyone in breath clouds as if the room is getting even colder, and with the wind comes the sound of tiny footsteps padding across the roof. Someone has arrived. Strange whispers echo from the chimney. Impish voices arguing in some cryptic ancient tongue become stifled giggles as powdery ash trickles down the chimney. We then hear something slowly descending, getting closer and closer until a figure lowers into the cold fireplace. Suspended from a rusty chain adorned with tiny bells, it is a jumbo gingerbread man the size of a doll. It comes to rest into the dying hearth while more quiet giggles echo from above. Then, with a tug of the chain's bells softly jingle, but everyone continues sleeping. The chain twitches again, jingling louder, the gingerbread man dancing with each tug. Finally, Howie Jr. stirs, sniffs the air, gradually wakes up and spots the gingerbread man dangling in the fireplace. His eyes light up. A dream come true. He carefully gets up and tiptoes over his sleeping family as more whispers echo from the top of the chimney, shushing each other, barely able to contain their glee, grinning as dumb and wide as the gingerbread man himself. Howie picks up the oversized cookie and takes a deep whiff, relishing its warm, sweet smell. He raises it to his mouth, angling its head for the biggest possible bite, then chop! Howie's eyes roll back in bliss, crumbs trembling down his chubby cheeks. It's perfect. Howie munches away, then opens his mouth for another bite and jump. Howie shrieks in pain, gasping in horror to see that the gingerbread man is bitten into his hand. Somehow this bizarre, demented cookie has come to life. Howie tries shaking it loose, but the gingerbread man laughs maniacally as it runs circle over and around his body, tightly wrapping him up in the chain like a spider. Howie screams as the chain goes taut into everyone's face. Howie is yanked up and into the fireplace. Howard runs but trips over Aunt Dorothy. Howie's feet are about to disappear, but they should when hands latch onto his ankles, held tight by Sarah.
Oh, hang on, Howie!
Are mixed with the bizarre chittering laughing of the gingerbread man and hut earth above. Sarah pulls as hard as he can when she too is violently yanked up into the chimney. Tom lunges, grabs Sarah's legs. Howard recovers and joins the insane tug of war. Even Mac rushes to help. Everyone pulling, trying to wrench Sarah and Howie free.
We got you! We got you! Come on!
Scream! Rosie howls and barks.
God damn it!
Everyone tugs, sending smoldering logs into the Christmas tree. It catches fire. Tray, branches, and gifts quickly burst into flames.
Max, the fire extinguisher.
Max ran office. The room fills with fire and smoke. Omi pulls Linda and the girls away, coughing and hacking, while Aunt Dorothy at the inferno with the blanket. Inside the chimney, Sarah climbed the chimney, barely able to see in the darkness and stood. But when she finally glanced up, she is horrified to see the gingerbread man inches from her face, screeching, and Sarah screams as her sanity is shattered. In the living room, Tom and Howard seem to be winning. Sarah's legs are almost out the chimney, followed by Howie's.
Yeah, we got you, buddy. We got you.
Footsteps rush across the roof. Reinforcements, followed by loud grunts, and then everyone lurches as Howie slips from the grip and vanishes up the chimney. He shrieks as overtopping by whoops of Senator's celebration and a stampede across the roof before. Silence. They're gone. Just as mysteriously as they arrived. Linda sobs, cradling the baby.
Oh, God, no.
Max returns and sprays the tree with the extinguisher.
Let go of me. He's alive. I got to go after him. I've got to go.
Howard, stop. You can't open that door.
Howard glances at Tom, then sees Linda and the kids, his rage becoming despair. Howard looks down and realizes he's still holding one of Howie's orthopedic shoes.
Oh, dear, this ain't happened. My boy.
He collapses to the floor. Smoke clears, ash settles, the tree smolders. Now a charred skeleton of gnarled branches and melting ornaments. The heirloom angel shatters on the ground.
Sarah, are you hurt, honey?
She's in shock, still unable to grasp what she saw in the chimney. The whole family is pretty much a disaster.
They were laughing. Did you hear them? They were laughing.
It's my fault. I fell asleep. My boy's gone, and it's all my fault.
Whoosh! The fireplace roars back to life, filling the room with flickering light and shadow. Everyone turns to see Omi, silhouetted by flames. The old woman looks at them with tears in her eyes, barely a whisper.
Es ist alles unsere Schuld. Ist für uns alles kommen.
Tom, what's she saying?
Tom is just as confused, hesitantly translating.
It's all our fault. He's coming for all of us.
Sarah looks at Tom, once again that Omi is losing it.
Mom, are you feeling okay? Have you taken your pills?
Bitte.
Dad, let her talk.
Please. Listen.
The room drops into stunned silence. For the first time, Omi has spoken in English.
I knew it.
This is difficult for Omi, physically and emotionally.
I must tell you something. All of you.
As she takes a deep breath and begins telling her story, wrestling out the words with a thick German accent.
It started with the wind. On a cold winter night, much like this.
Flickering shadows on the walls become more animated, transforming into gnarled trees, then a dark forest.
The war was over, but times were still difficult for my village.
We are watching Omi's story come to life via ornate, animated shadow puppets as we descend onto a small German town, 1946 at night. Snow falls on the skeletal remains of a once quaint town. Shattered buildings shiver and creak in the cold winter wind.
It was almost Christmas, but unlike years past, this Christmas was darker, less cheerful.
We push through the fog and rubble to the town square. We receive what seems to be a silhouette of a large demon, 2 red glowing eyes and a long tongue twisting from an open mouth. But as we move through the mist, we see the eyes are actually the taillights of Red Cross truck, and the long black tongue is a line of starving people awaiting their rations. We move down the line of somber faces until we find a little girl clutching a tattered Santa doll. This is young Omi.
But I still believed in Santa, in magic and miracles. And then the hope that we could find joy again.
Young Omi is handed the last loaf of bread by a Red Cross worker. For a moment, it's the Christmas image until Omi is violently knocked to the ground, her Santa doll and bread stand flying into the air.
But our village had given up on miracles and on each other.
Realizing the rations have run out, the crowd has turned into a mob. In slow motion, an old man is knocked over. A Red Cross walker is attacked. 2 starving men fight over a bag of grain while their angry wives scream at each other. The bag rips and grain flies everywhere, falling to the ground around young Omi, who looks at the scene in shock.
They had forgotten the spirit of Christmas, the sacrifice of giving.
Crowd clears, and Omi picks herself up. There's no food left, but she manages to find her Santa doll, its face now trampled in a twisted mask, eyes glaring.
And my family was no different.
Off this grotesque version of old Saint Nick, Omi's father's screaming face, we then pull back to reveal a cottage at night. Omi's father, mother, and 2 older sisters yelling at her for coming home empty-handed. Omi offers up all that she has in consolation, her Santa doll.
I tried to help them believe in Santa again, but we were no longer the loving family I remembered.
But Omi's mother snatches the doll from her hands and rips it in half, tossing the pieces to the ground.
They had given up, and eventually so did I.
Omi throws a torn doll into the fireplace.
And for the first time, I didn't wish for a miracle. I wished for them to go away.
And as the doll is swallowed by flames, we follow the smoke up the chimney and into the night sky, twisting into rumbling black clouds, choking out the stars and moon. Below, one by one, the lights of the town below follow suit until we see black and hear the sounds of roaring wind.
That night, in the darkness of a howling blizzard, I got my wish.
Suddenly, we hear distant thuds on the roof, again and again, closer and closer until they're right above us like a heartbeat racing in the dark. Boom! Young Omi's eyes burst open as we pull back to reveal Omi's bedroom at night. Young Omi shivers in bed listening.
I knew Santa was not coming this year.
We hold up on a close-up of Omi as we listen to the horrors happening in the rest of the house, but never see them.
Instead, it was much darker, more ancient spirit.
Hooves, clumping, rusty bells jingling, the dull thud of something heavy hitting the floor, the deranged giggles and pitter-patter of the tiny feet racing through the cottage.
The shadow of St. Nicholas. It was Krampus.
And then the screams!
And as he had for thousands of years, Krampus came not to reward, but to punish. Not to give, but to take.
And we hear the shrieks of Omi's family as they're ripped from their beds, unbearably loud. Walls crack as someone smashes the other side, followed by chittering laughter.
He and his helpers.
Tears stream down Omi's face as she covers her ears. But the screams continue building to a deafening crescendo. Her eyes dart around the dark room when, through the crack of her door, Omi catches a brief, fleeting glance of tiny figures darting through the halls, snickering. They're followed by their dark silhouette of Krampus, a lanking figure clad in dark ragged robes, huge twisted horns, and a matted beard framing his gleaming eyes. Krampus is about to leave when he suddenly stops. Sensing something, the demon turns and peers through the door crack, staring right at Omi, trembling, terrified.
But Krampus didn't take me that night.
Still shaking, young Omi enters the living room, gawking at...
He left me as a reminder of what happens when hope is lost.
The charred rubble of the fireplace, split down the middle.
When belief is forgotten.
And in the ash, a rusty jingle bell inscribed with Gruß von Krampus.
And the Christmas spirit dies.
As young Omi picks up the bell, the light of Christmas morning washes over her. As we return to the living room, the same rusty jingle bell, now clutched in Omi's wrinkled hands. Exhausted by the memory, Omi collapses into a chair. Max moves to her side and consoles her while the rest of the family stares in silence, unsure of what to make of her story. The kids seem to believe it, but...
And here I thought I was the one losing it.
A word.
What? You gonna believe this pile of senile horse shit? Evil Santa Claus? Jesus H. Almighty. Suppose she'll be yammering about a rabbit.
That's enough.
Damn right it's enough. Whoever the hell messing with us just took my boy and your daughter. We're sitting here like some twisted bedtime story? Screw that.
Howard grabs his shotgun and limps for the door. Tom moves to stop him, but Howard cocks the gun.
Don't, Tommy. I'm starting to like you. I am. But this is my choice.
Howard starts removing the 2x4 barricade over the door.
Oh, Howard, please don't. Stay with us. Please, we can figure this out.
Daddy, don't go.
Stay with us, please.
This is how I figure things out.
He throws open the door. Wind pours in, but when Howard turns to leave, he freezes in the tracks, gawking.
No!
The rest of the family gathers around him, staring at dozens of snowmen covering the yard, twisted, obscene faces glaring at the family, all covered in long, sharp icicles. Howard's lip starts to quiver when he spots a fat little snowman wearing Howie's varsity jacket, positioned right up front for all of them to see.
Oh, God.
Howard is about to step outside when they notice tiny glistening eyes watching them from the darkness. Dozens of strange silhouettes scurrying across rooftops, while a chorus of snickers and whispers fill the air.
Shut the door. Shut it.
Bam! Tom rebarricades the door.
Dad, what are we gonna do?
Tom stares at Omi, unable to shake the feeling that the old woman might be right about everything.
Keep the fire hot.
Off the petrified faces of the family and shrieking wind when Max's advent calendar, the next door is open to December 24th, revealing an eerie illustration of Santa himself. The Angle home during the day, but dark, now almost completely swallowed by snowdrifts. Gnarled ice trees crackle little bones. It might be morning, but it's still completely dark out, as if the sun itself has died. In the living room, now almost completely swallowed by snowdrifts, gnarled, icy trees crackle like bones. It might be morning, but it's still completely dark out, as if the sun itself has died. The fire crackles. No one can sleep. It's too cold and everyone is too scared. A grandfather clock quietly ticks away. Exhausted from crying, Linda leans against Sarah. Tom and Howard keep watch at the windows, but Howard is still devastated, clutching his son's tiny shoe. Shivering from the cold, Aunt Dorothy wraps her scarf around the baby.
There you go. Like a fat little pig in a blanket. Oink, oink, oink.
The baby laughs. Dorothy suddenly catches Sarah staring. Surprisingly, Sarah smiles warmly, and Aunt Dorothy returns the gesture. A silent but meaningful reconciliation. Still in shock, Steve and Jordan look up to find Max holding a bag of candy.
It's from my Halloween stash.
A peace offering long overdue. The girls take some, Tom is lost in thought, staring at the Christmas stockings at Beth in particular, a long, quiet beat until pop! Everyone jumps and grabs whatever closest for dear life, but it was just the firewood cracking. Tom looks at his arm. Howard is still clinging to it. Max breaks the tension with some bad news.
We're almost out of firewood.
Tom solemnly nods and notices something. The grandfather clock has stopped ticking. Tom looks at his family, on the verge of falling apart. Grim determination, he heads for the kitchen. Tom rummages through the junk drawer, pulls out a street map. Sarah pads in and pours some very cold coffee, hands trembling so badly she spills it all over the counter. She starts wiping it when Tom stops her and takes her hands in his gently.
Hey, Took Howie, what did you see in there?
Sarah stares into her coffee, unable to say it loud, her mind still struggling to make sense of it.
You believe her, don't you? That story.
Tom doesn't answer, but his face says he might.
I'm going out there to find Beth, Tom. I have to. I don't care if I die trying. I can't sit around here.
I know. Grab Howard and Linda. I have an idea.
In the attic bedroom morning, Linda sits on the attic floor, sorting through the charred Christmas gifts salvaged in the living room. Some need fresh wrapping. Others are melted into goo. Linda fights back her despair while Chrissy gurgles nearby.
Right, honey. There's still hope.
Linda then comes across the part wrapped ornate gifts, the ones that were on the porch when the FedEx guy came. They're half burned, but she optimistically keeps them.
Linda?
Linda turns to her sister, trying to stay upbeat.
Hey, do you have any super glue?
Yeah, maybe. Hey, could we talk to you and Howard for a second?
Wait, I really want to rewrap these for the kids.
It's important.
At the same time in the living room, Max translates as the girls fire off questions. This is the most attention Omi has gotten for her grandkids in years.
But what if you were good all year?
And you leave out milk and cookies and do everything else right.
Es ist nicht das, was sie tun, aber was sie glauben. Was sie schön aufgegeben. Hier.
It isn't what you do, but what you believe. What you've given up. In here.
Omi looks right at Max when she says this, and Max notices.
But can't we make him go away?
Omi answers, but Max has trouble understanding.
What's she saying?
I'm not sure. She says...
that we're fucked.
Omi shrugs in confirmation.
How do you know?
Because I'm old enough to know what life is coming at you with its dick out.
Kids look at each other, gross. Moments later in the kitchen, Tom plunks keys onto the counter. Howard recognizes them.
The snowplow?
It was beat to hell, but if it still runs, I can drive it back here. Then everyone piles into the car and follows while I clear a path in front of us.
And go where?
The Megamart doubles as an emergency shelter. That might be why they still have power. If that's empty, we try the police station.
And if they're gone?
Keep driving until we see some lights. People, plowed road, somewhere safe for the kids.
And then we'll come back with help for Beth
Howard,
and Howie.
Linda uneasy, but Howard then realizes.
Hey, hang on. You're not talking about going for the plow by yourself now, are you?
Tom nods, eyes Howard's injured leg.
Shepherd's got to protect his flock.
In the attic bedroom at the same time, push in on the pile of gifts. Suddenly, one of the ornate boxes starts moving. Something inside throbs and undulates. Other gifts follow, twitching like eggs about to hatch as we are now filling the yard. The snowmen are more monstrous than ever, all staring at the house. In the living room at the same time, Max uses the binoculars. Behind him, Omi tends the fire. Max's binocular point of view are frozen trees, the yard, and then that strange glow on the distant horizon, the same flickering lights of the megamart Tom saw earlier. Max stares at the light, his curiosity growing. His binocular point of view then pans across the dark houses across the street until we see a huge figure perched on a roof. Max gasps, fumbles with the binoculars, but when he looks outside again, the hunched figure is gone. Max blinks, wondering if he's imagined it, but he knows he probably didn't. At the fireplace, Stevie reaches into a stocking looking for something to eat. Nothing. She moves to the next stocking, not noticing that something deep inside is moving, twisting and turning. Stevie's hand reaches deeper, deeper, getting closer. Then a hand lands on her shoulder. She whirls around in surprise and points a motorized spinning lollipop at.
What?
Stevie, I think Aunt Dorothy clogged up the shitter.
So use the one upstairs.
Jordan bites her lip, hesitant.
What? You afraid to go by yourself? Geez, come on.
They grab flashlights and leave, not noticing as something small darts through the windows behind them. In the air duct at the same time, someone's point of view moves through the air ducts, accompanied by the pitter-patter of tiny feet. The POV darts and weaves, following the sounds of echoing voices until it finds the adults talking in the kitchen. The point of view spies through the vent as they look over the map of the town.
The snowplow's only 3 blocks away.
Yeah, but 3 blocks will feel like 3 miles in this mess.
And what about that thing under the snow?
It hurt us once. We heard it once. We can do it again.
Have you guys told Max?
No, not yet.
Behind them, a knife rises towards a ceiling air butt suspended by a long ribbon, hoisted by something unseen. Chrissy spots it and starts pointing, but by the time Linda turns around, the knife has already vanished into the vent. In the upstairs hallway at the same time, Stevie shivers, anxiously waiting for Jordan outside the bathroom. We can hear her messing around inside.
You giving birth in there or what?
At the bathroom at the same time, eyes brimming with tears, Jordan stares at a photo of Howie eating a cheeseburger as big as his head. Suddenly, pitter, patter from the air vents. Jordan freezes, listens closely, but hears nothing. Upstairs hallway at the same time, the bathroom door opens and Jordan steps out. Jordan nods when they both hear a muffled voice coming from the attic. The words are unclear, but it sounds like...
Beth?
The girls approach the attic staircase, listening.
Beth? Are you up there?
A long silence, uncomfortably long, and then...
Stevie? Jordan? What are you doing?
It really is Beth, as clear as day. The girls smile, happy to hear her cousin's voice. They head upstairs.
Where have you been? Everyone's freaking out.
But there's something off about Beth's voice. Unnatural. Going on at the attic bedroom at the same time, the girls ascend into the shadow attic. The candles Linda lit earlier are still burning, casting shadows on the wall.
Where are you?
Over here.
The girls follow Beth's voice to the pile of burned gifts Linda was rewrapping. Then they notice something odd. The ornate gifts, they're open, ripped and shredded from within like something clawed and chewed its way out.
No peeking before Christmas.
Startled, the girls spin around and then they scream. The kitchen at the same time, which echoes through the house. Everyone jumps, looks up.
Jordan? Stevie?
Linda runs from the room and into the living room. Linda follows with screams which seems to come from everywhere. Rosie the bulldog whimpers and stares up the staircase.
My God, where are they? Babies!
But the scream abruptly stops. Howard, Sarah, Tom enter as Linda zeroes in on Aunt Dorothy accusingly.
Where are they?
They were just here. I think they went to the bathroom.
And you just let them go?
Was there another option?
Jordan! Stevie!
That's the creaking house and wind. Linda stares up the stairs, but Howard grabs her, holding her back.
Let me go, Howard!
Howard smartly senses there's something is very wrong.
Listen.
They hear tiny footsteps followed by giggles.
Jordy, Stevie, oh God, please answer.
Tom draws his gun.
What are you doing?
You guys
Forget
stay.
it. Those are our kids, Tom.
And no one's going anywhere in this house alone.
Well, someone's got to stay behind.
I'll say.
You sure?
Howard looks at Max, Olme, Dorothy, and Chrissy, the family members who need the most protection.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Moments later, each carrying the flashlights, Tom, Sarah, and Linda climb the staircase. Tom has the gun, Sarah the axe, Linda a hammer. Linda makes brief eye contact with Howard before disappearing into the shadow. Howard mouths, "I love you." Darkness and eerie silence. Tom leads the way through the upstairs hallway, gun raised. They're all shrieking from fear, cold, or both.
Stay together.
A loud creak echoes from the attic stairwell, followed by more footsteps and whispers. In the living room at the same time, lit only by fire and candles, Max, Olme, Dorothy, and Howard anxiously listen to every sound from upstairs. Dorothy cradles Chrissy, trying to comfort both herself and the baby. Feeling an impalpable sense of guilt, Max turns to Olme.
Olme, I think this might all be my fault.
Olme gently pulls him closer, and then behind him, we notice something in the firelight, something on the mantel that wasn't there a moment ago. A large nutcracker designed to look like a toy soldier, but with eerily realistic teeth. It stands perfectly still, but its appearance is more than unnerving. Suddenly, a metallic clang echoes from the kitchen, followed by breaking glass. Howard spins and aims a shotgun. Rosie growls something like someone rummaging around.
Uncle Howard?
Shh. Howard peers down the hall. More clanging. Dishes break.
Rosie, come on, girl.
Rosie whimpers and hides behind a couch.
Useless turd. Right. Wait there.
Howard grabs a kerosene lantern and heads for the kitchen. In the attic at the same time, Tom leads the way up the stairs. It's pitch black and even colder up there. A layer of mist hangs in the air while icicles and frost creep over the walls and piles of junk.
Jordan, Stevie.
They hear a faint moan from the far end of the attic where it's darkest, and disturbingly, it's accompanied by what can only be described as moist chewing. They hesitantly follow the sons, flashlights shaking. In the living room at the same time, Chrissy whimpers. Even the baby can feel the dread.
It's okay, honey. We're gonna be okay.
Gripping the fire poker, Max stands guard, but he fails to notice the nutcracker that was on the mantel a moment ago is now gone. In the kitchen at the same time, Howard creeps in, heart racing, light and shadows playing tricks on his mind. Pots and broken glass litter the floor as if something tore across the counter, knocking things over. Howard then inches past the kitchen island where a gingerbread house sits, and inside, something moves. In the attic bedroom at the same time, weaving their way through the maze of junk, Tom, Sarah, and Linda follow the chewing sounds to the far side of the attic. Tom readies his gun. Linda is shaking so badly that she can barely aim her flashlight. They exchange nervous glances as they slowly peer over some old furniture and boxes. Their flashlight first illuminate what looks like a small wooden box, a faded jack-in-the-box with a tiny handle, similar to the one Beth found when she was taken. The lid is already open, but instead of a toy, something else has emerged from the box, some sort of creature. Flashlight pan across its thick serpentine abdomen like a massive fleshy intestine sprawling across the floor, only at least 8 feet long and horrifyingly bloated and distended. A scream rises in Linda's throat, but it's until there flashlights find the jack-in-the-box's torso that the screaming really begins, because its upper body is that of a clown, a dirty, ragged, harlequin toy that clawed its way out of childhood nightmare and into reality. Even worse, the clown's stubby arms are clutching Jordan's legs, shoving her head first into its dislocated jaws, trying to swallow her. The clown then winks its black, soulless eyes as gulp. Jordan is fully devoured. Then horribly it wipes its putrid mouth and smiles, delicious as Linda finally screams. In the living room at the same time, Dorothy and Max hear the screams. In the kitchen at the same time, so does Howard.
Oh,
He bolts for the door, then thwip, thwip, thwip. He's hit by something small and fast and falls to the floor in agony. Howard looks down to see 6 nails embedded in his leg. Hearing something, he looks up to see the nail gun on the counter and holding the gun unbelievably in a bizarre trove, a sinister gingerbread man. Cousins of the one that took Howie. The gingerbreads try to aim the nail gun while bickering and slapping each other like them. Howard blinks momentarily, too stunned to say the least.
I was a good boy this year.
Thwip, thwip. The gingerbreads fire against, but Howard grabs a cutting board, using it as a shield. In the attic bedroom, at the same time, the clown bends over grabs his next victim, Stevie, sprawled and unconscious on the floor.
Shoot it, Tom! For God's sake, shoot it!
Tom fires, hitting the cluster of junk. Startled, the clown drops Stevie and screeches off into the shadows. In the same time, the living room screams fill the house.
Jesus, what are these sounds?
Max clutches the fire poker, too scared to move. In the kitchen at the same time, dishes is shattered all around Howard as he crawls on the floor, dodging a rapid-fire volley of nails. Pinned in a corner, he recovers, trying to get a beat on the gingerbreads. He can hear them moving, knocking over pots and pans, still whispering and bickering with each other in the attic bedroom at the same time.
oh God, baby, please wake up.
Stevie moans,
Please
groggy.
wake up.
Linda cradles her when pitter, patter, pitter, patter, something moves behind them. They spin, flashlights barely illuminating the attic. Pitter, patter in front of them. They spin again, shaking, and then a noise, whispering from above. Everyone shines their flashlights above to see a face glaring down from the rafters, but it isn't human. It's a demented porcelain Christmas germ clinging to the beams, screeching like a bat, her tattered wings spread wide. They scream as the cherub lunges, knocks Sarah to the ground. Linda rushes to help when something small and furry leaps from the shadows and crunch bites her arm. And when we finally get a good look at it, we realize it's a teddy bear, a dirty patchwork toy that has somehow sprung to life. It growls and sinks its very real teeth and claws until Linda's arms, mauling her like a rabid animal. Tom tries pulling the bear away when he suddenly cries out, arching back, hands trying to reach out for a kitchen knife, that is hand twisting the blade deeper into Tom's back. This grotesque
Kidding me.
is what hatched from the mysterious ornate presence, and they are alive, attacking with shocking strength and speed. Meanwhile, in the corner, the clown slithers to a vent, staring, straining to pull it open and escape, with Jordan in its belly. In the kitchen at the same time, still pinned against a corner, another nail hits Howard's shoulder, another in his forearm. He screams as the gingerbread laughs, enjoying the sadistic fun. Howard on the kitchen island right next to the Sarah's creme brulee torch. Howard aims his shotgun, and boom, the torch explodes, and the gingerbreads are blasted off the counter. One is blown to pieces while the other hits the floor. Hilariously screeching, and Howard running around on fire. And Howard enjoys watching them burn, but the gingerbreads won't give up. Sputting toward Howard, the flames hellspawn let out an angry scream and start running right at him, scampering across the floor. Howard! Gingerbread lunges through the smoke, about to latch its burning power onto Howard's face when a pair of jaws snaps the gingerbread in midair. It's Rosie. The fat dog shakes and mauls a cookie to pieces. Tiny hands suddenly grab Howard. He shrieks and flails until he realizes it's just Max.
Come on!
Howard drags Howard away.
Good girl, Rosie.
Rosie lingers behind, staring at the gingerbread man's head, still alive, angrily screeching. Rosie curiously watches it for the moment and eats it. In the attic bedroom, at the same time, the cherub cackles and rips Christmas lights around. Wow, Linda's bashes Teddy with her flashlight, but it won't let go. Its gruesome face spattered with flesh, but as Tom battles the toy robot, still trying to pull the knife from his back, they careen around the room against his exposed pipe, and it's knocked out cold. But even in all this chaos, Linda catches a glimpse of the clown trying to escape into a vent across the room. Fueled by a mother's rage, Linda breaks off a sharp icicle off an attic bin and stabs it into Teddy's eyes. The bear screams as Linda the attic, disappearing behind some clutter. Her pricky Christmas sweater now torn and bloodstained. Linda lunges for the axe and... Hey! Heck! She cuts the robot in half with a shower of sparks.
Tom, you need to get up. I said up!
Linda yanks the knife out and he instantly awakens. Uses her scarf to cover Tom's wound.
Keep pressure on it.
Her fierce eyes snap to the cherub still strangling Sarah. Enraged, Linda charges the once passive chubby soccerman, now wielding an axe like a battle-hardened warrior.
Whoa.
The cherub smartly lets go of Sarah and scampers into the shadows. Linda helps Sarah to her feet.
Sis, you okay?
Yeah, I think.
Good. Help Tom.
Linda leaves and rushes towards the air vent where the clown has pulled the grate off and is now trying to squeeze its way inside, but its bulbous body is stuck. It shrieks, desperately trying to get away just as Linda comes rushing at an axe raised.
Give me back my kids, you fudger!
Final the clown disappears into the vent. Clack! Linda's axe misses it by inches. The clown clack calls out, it escapes into the ducts. Linda can't fit. Sarah's helping Tom to his feet.
It's okay, honey. You're gonna be okay.
Suddenly, the robot lunge is still alive, but Sarah grabs Tom's gun and bam, 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 blows it into pieces. Tom stares at White, amazed by her reflexes.
What?
Linda returns with Stevie in her arms.
Come on. It's in the vents. We have to find it before...
More screams suddenly join the fray from downstairs.
God!
Max! Howard!
They bolt for the stairs. The living room. Max helps Howard limp into the living room as Tom, Linda, and Sarah come rushing back down. Dorothy holds the baby close. Stevie, Linda sits Stevie down in a chair.
They got Jordan. It'll be all right, baby. Just breathe. That's it. Breathe.
Howard's face turns white upon hearing this.
Those things that took Howie. Whatever they are.
Mom and Sarah rush to Max.
Hey, are you okay?
Yeah, fine. I'm fine.
Max wraps a blanket around Stevie, who is trembling in shock. Jordan screams, fill the house, followed by more thumping as the clown slithers its way through the fence. Enraged, Howard springs to his feet and reloads his shotgun.
This ends right here and right now.
Their eyes are glued to the ceiling and walls, trying to follow the noises, but they seem to be coming from everywhere.
I think it's panicking. Trying to find a way outside.
We boarded everything.
What are they dealing with, Linda? What do you see up there?
You don't want to know.
Huh? I just got my ass kicked by a bunch of Christmas cookies, so trust me when I tell you, I can take it.
Everyone anxiously listens to the thumping and screaming, sometimes close, sometimes distant. Max suddenly noticed Rosie whimpering and scratching at a large vent near the floor. An idea sparks and Max rushes to pull the vent open.
Max, what are you doing?
Go get him, girl.
Rosie charges into the vent, barking and growling. The family listens as the dog starts hunting the clown, sniffing, patting around the vents, and then they hear the clown shrieking in terror as it's chased, attacked, and mauled. We hear a flurry of barking and screeching as their off-screen battle begins more vicious and intense. Chunks of walls and ceiling the pursuit. Pipes burst, water sprays. Sarah's gallery of family portraits shattered on the ground, but it sounds like Rosie is whining, slowly dragging the panicked creature toward the vent.
Come on, get him, Rosie. Kill it.
A loud thump, followed by silence. Everyone looks around.
Rosie?
More uncomfortable silence for far too long. And then the living room ceiling cracks and caves in. Everyone ducks, dodging falling debris as the clown's massive body hits the floor with a sick, wet thud. The beast is now even more horrifying, covered in dirt, grime, and cobwebs, and it has devoured Rosie, the dog, shape now visible in the clown's swollen belly with Jordan. The clown screeches and howls, literally attempting to crawl away, but it's now too fat to move. Howard is frozen with terror while the rest of the family surrounds the clown, trying to keep it from escaping again.
Howard!
The clown viciously defends himself, hissing and clawing at them like a trapped animal. Sarah lunges with a knife, tries to cut its belly open, but the clown bites her hand. Tom pulls her back to safety. Finally snapping out of his daze, Howard raises the shotgun, aiming for the monster's head, about to pull the trigger when something small and fast flies through the air and latches onto Howard, slamming him to the ground. It's the cherub, its tattered wings wrapped around Howard's head as it scratches and bites his face.
Get it off me! Get it off me!
Sarah and Sarah rush to pull the little monster away. Suddenly, the clown arches back and lets loose with a terrifying primal howl as if crying. So chaotic that no one notices that the teddy bear rises up behind Oma, standing on a shelf, holding a rolling pin.
Omi!
Whack! It hits her. She falls. Furious, Aunt Dorothy grabs Howard's shotgun off the floor and boom! Pulls the teddy bear to pieces. Max rushes to Omi, dazed but alive, and that's when the fire extinguisher goes off, filling the room with billowing clouds of white. And when the clouds dissipate, Max sees the Nutcracker clutching the extinguisher. It scampers away.
Dad?
Tom and Sarah finally pull the cherub off of Howard and hurl it against the wall as boom! Aunt Dorothy nails it with the shotgun again. Feathers and porcelain fly everywhere. Everyone then turns the attention back to the clown.
And Dorothy, finish it.
I'll see you in hell.
She raises the shotgun, but the clown no longer seems afraid. A sick smile spreads across its face as it knows something then, and then pushing in on Omi, her face filled with dread, realizing...
Elfin.
Smash! 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 Multiple pairs of tiny arms dart through breaking through the windows, grabbing Dorothy and wresting the gun away from her. Wind fills the room. Candles are blown off. It's difficult to see these new creatures in the darkness, but they clearly aren't toys. Bigger, meaner, and stronger. They are elfin, the dark elves, laughing and snickering. The elves quickly tear through the boards and barricades and tremble into the living room. There are 7 of them, all similar but slightly different, dressed in dirty pelts and furs. Their leathery skin is chapped and cracked from the cold. Their faces covered by primitive masks, carved in terrifying expressions, while strings of bones and bells clatter around them. The elves surround the crown, protecting it like a prized pet, while the Nutcracker obediently scampers to their side. One of the elves even examines the remains of the cherub and teddy bear, mourning their loss. It's as if the toys were hunting dogs and the elves are the hunter. Tom grabs the axe, about to attack, but the elves press a dagger against Dorothy's throat, and it's a standoff.
God damn it, I'm pushing 70. With nothing to do here but booze and reruns. Do it!
I can't! Suddenly, heavy, rusty chains adorned with thick hooks smash through the broken window. Moving quickly, the elves attack the clowns, to the chains to the clown that wrap them tight around Aunt Dorothy. Howard can't take it. He breaks free from the others and lunges at the clown, grabbing onto the window and into the darkness. Linda screams as she's held back by Tom and Sarah. Only Max, Tom, Sarah, Oma, Linda, and baby Chrissy remain, hopelessly surrounded by the elves. The snarling creatures inch closer, toying with the family, jabbing at them with daggers and spears. Linda clutches Chrissy and Stevie while Tom and Sarah slash at the elves, trying to keep them at bay. Max holds onto Omi, terrified. The family braces themselves, but suddenly the elves stop in their tracks, staring upwards as if hearing something, and then the elves scatter, scrambling and leaping out of the broken window. Silence as the family looks around.
Howard? Aunt Dorothy?
Sarah comforts Linda, whose mind is starting to crack. Tom moves fast, sorting through the rubble for the shotgun.
Max, the ammo.
Max scrambles, grabbing shotgun shells off the floor, scattered next to crushed ornaments and cookies.
Where'd they go?
I'm more worried about when they come back. I say we make a break for it.
For what?
The snowplow. It's our only shot.
This is a nightmare. It has to be. It can't be real. God, why is this happening to us? Why is this happening to our family?
Yes, Max turns to see Omi with a match, trying to reignite the fire. The wind blows it out, but she keeps trying.
Mom, stop. We're leaving.
But she won't.
Mom, you have to stop.
Tom grabs her, forcing her. They stare at each other. Tom sees the pain and fear in his mother's eyes when faint sleigh bells ring in the distance, getting closer. Everyone freezes, straining to listen as the bells get closer and closer, louder, and then boom! The house shakes as something lands on the roof. And as it does, the Christmas light begins to eerily flicker and strobe. A record player kicks on, blasting a warped and distorted rendition of Up on the Housetop. Everyone gawks, listening to the boom, boom, boom. Whatever up there clumps down the chimney, accompanied by hoarse breathing and clinking chains.
It's him.
The temperature plunges. Frost spreads across walls. Ornaments jingle with each thud, heralding his arrival. Everyone backs away from the fireplace as black ash trickles down the chimney, the hoarse breathing growing louder.
Come on.
Tom removes the barricade in the foyer, clutching the shotgun, bracing for whatever awaits them outside.
Tom
stares at his family, doesn't know what to say except,
everyone hold on to each other.
crack! The ceiling splinters as the creature starts forcing its way down the chimney. Tom flings open the door. Wind fills the room. The family grabs each other and starts trudging outside. Nearly knocked over by the wind, everyone does their best to help each other. Max and Omi are about to leave when Omi abruptly stops just shy of the door.
Omi, what's wrong?
She cheerfully stares at Max, then
Be good.
as Omi slams the door shut, locking them outside.
Omi!
Everyone stops, sees Max pounding on the door.
Mom!
In the living room at the same time, Omi slides the barricade back into place, then calmly approaches the hearth, watching as the chimney bulges and breaks from the descending monster.
Mom, open the door! Mom!
But Omi has resigned herself to the sacrifice. Tom speaks.
Mom!
Watching Tom futilely pounding on the door, Max realizes.
Dad, she wants to face him.
Tom stops, knowing Max is right.
She's trying to help.
Suddenly, they all flinch as a howl pierces the terrifying roar of the snow beast, and it's getting closer. Resigned, Tom looks at his son, at Sarah and Linda. It's an agonizing choice no son or father should have to make. Choking back tears, Tom backs away from the door. They leave, carefully keeping away from the snowmen. But as the family is engulfed by the storm, one of the snowmen seems to turn its head, watching them. In the living room at the same time, Omi gawks as black smoke pours out of the fireplace. The bricks and mantel crack as the music stops, skipping on a static loop as the record has reached its end. Suddenly, two long skeletal arms reach out from the hearth like pale spider legs covered in ash and soot. Taloned hands then clutch the lip of the hearth and pull the massive body out of the chimney. Bones crunch and snap as it twists and contorts to squeeze through. Thud! A huge hoof hits the floor, crushing a Santa Claus ornament. Thud! The other hoof follows. Omi is oddly unafraid as this ancient old world demon begins to rise, slowly unfurling itself to stand at its full height Meet Krampus. His head, hulking form, is draped in heavy layers of pelts and furs, all dark red as if dyed with blood, long chains and rusty bloods clinking with each step. And while we see Floyd in the flickering lantern light, we never see the details of his horrid face. We only see a mane of wild hair and a matted beard covered with frost and ice, framing true, sunken, glistening eyes. Krampus looms over Omi, hissing with perverse glee. A long serpentine tongue emerges from his mouth as he caresses her cheek, savoring their reunion. Krampus then turns and opens his huge bag of toys, and a chorus of whispers and snickers rises within. Terror fills Omi's face as this mischievous chittering grows louder, but before she can scream, a flurry of tiny monstrous firms burst from the bag as we hear the screeching wind reaching its apex, the frigid storm and a deadly combination of snow, sleet, and hail. The neighborhood is unrecognizable. Houses and cars are completely buried. Broken trees covered in ice. It looks more like a dark fantasy landscape than suburbia. A lone flashlight pierces the darkness as the muted sound of a crying baby barely raises over the tempest. The family wades through the waist deep snow, trying to stay together. Tom leads, doing his best to guide them. Mac looks back at the house one last time as its Christmas lights flicker and go out. His heart breaks, realizing Omi is gone. We hear nothing but the screeching storm. It's too cold for the family to even speak. They can only point and gesture, faces frostbitten, hands turning blue. They are freezing. This is a death march. Linda stumbles, nearly dropping Christy, but Max and David help her back up. Tom looks around, turning to get his bearings when he spots the charred wreckage of Howard's Hummer only 10 feet away, which means the snowball isn't far. Now, Tom gestures for everyone to follow when they hear the snow beats roar in the distance. They try to move faster, fighting the wind, trying to help each other. Either they'll all survive this or no one will. Sinister eyes watch them from the darkness, prowling in the trees, crawling across roofs like wolves, hunting their prey. Suddenly, Max spots something moving under the snow, tunneling toward them. Max tugs at Tom, frantically pointing. Tom sees it, aiming the shotgun, and boom! The snow beast burrowing under the snow, getting closer and closer. Sarah, Linda, Stevie, and Max keep running as Tom fires again and again until boom! Black blood erupts. The monster seems to retreat and disappear. The family moves as fast as they can, but it's like running through quicksand. They turn and a corner and spot the snowplow only 30 feet away. Their last hope. Lightning flashes, and the burst of light they see the snow beast. Keep going as he lingers behind, putting himself between the creature and his family. Begging Tom to come, but he won't budge. All he can do is mouth, "I love you," in a heart. When Max watches as his parents gaze at each other in a final heartbreaking goodbye, and then Tom looks at Sarah and Max, hands the key to Hera, and earthly mouths, "Go!" And as much as it pains them, they do. Tom watches until they fade into the mist. He then scans the darkness, trying to see through the storm. When he spots circling him, Tom fires. Snow explodes, shooting until click. He's empty. Tom closes his eyes, bracing himself, and in a burst of wind, he's gone, pulled under the surface. Stevie climbs into the snowplow first, then helps pull Max up to safety. Linda is lagging, struggling to carry Chrissy. Sarah turns to help when she spots the creature tunneling at them, closing in. Linda sees it, panics, tries moving faster, but it's impossible. The creature is 15 feet away. 10, 6, Stevie and Max helplessly watch as the monster descends on Linda and Chrissy, and in a blink of an eye, mother and daughter pulled under. No! Without hesitating, Sarah dives into the snow a long 10 feet as Stevie and Max scan the sea of white, and then Sarah resurfaces next to the plow with Chrissy in her arms. She hands the baby and keys to Max.
My Max, take it, go.
No, Mom, you can make it, you can.
And Sarah weakly smiles just as she's pulled back under. Silence. as Max trembles, clutching the baby.
Mom! Mom!
It's gone, everyone, it's gone. Max and Stevie gaze at each other, realizing they're the only ones left as Max slams the door, hands the baby to Stevie, fumbles with the keys, and tries the engine. It sputters, but doesn't start. He tries again and again.
Come on, come on!
Outside the windows, lightning flashes, revealing dozens of snowmen, now a throng of horrid, icicle-covered monsters, getting closer just as the engine finally rumbles to life. Max throws it into reverse and backs it out from the tree and the street. At the same time, the tires spin for a beat before catching. The huge metal scraper blade lowers as Max lines it up to face the snowman.
Merry Christmas, assholes.
Monks punches it and then plows straight, barreling through snowmen, smashing them to the pieces. Max mows them down with a vengeful smell when crash, something huge lands on the roof, buckling the metal. Stevie screams and chills Chrissy, holding her tight as Krampus claws tear through the roof like tissue paper. Cold wind rushes in while the kids stare in horror. Bird's eye Krampus point of view rising high into the air, gazing down at the kids. We hover for a beat, then swoop back down on the screaming kids until we... Darkness. Silence. For an uncomfortably long time, we might even expect the credits to start rolling until Max opens his eyes. Still sitting behind the wheel, snowflakes float down around him through the torn roof. The wind has stopped. We only hear the idling motor of the plow. Confused, Max looks at the seat next to him. Empty! Stevie and Chrissy are gone, and then he spots it. A rusty sleigh bell. A wrapped parcel. He hesitantly picks it up. After a beat, he notices something and starts to carefully unwrap it. Examining the wrapping paper, his ripped letter to Santa. Inside is wrapped a rusty sleigh bell. Then continues as he is surprised and he spots it. Max hesitantly picks up the bell and looks closer, finding the same inscription, Grus van Krampus. Trembling, he stares through the windshield where he notices something, the glowing lights of the Megamart on the horizon. Max bites his lip, gears turning, wondering, hoping, then clutching the rusty belt, makes a decision as the snowplow rumbles through the desolate streets, heading towards a mysterious light. Max nervously stares out the window, getting a first-hand look at the destruction Krampus has brought upon the town. Cars overturned, houses burning, decorations littering the streets. A police cruiser sits empty, red and blue lights randomly flickering, and snowmen look everywhere, trying to stay calm. Max anxiously hums a Christmas song to himself. It doesn't help. Then he sees something huge emerging from the fog ahead. The Megamart, but the store is unrecognizable, completely frozen over. It's now an ominous mountain of frost and ice. The plow comes to a stop in front of the store. Max climbs out, clutching a tire iron as his only weapon. Dread grips him as he stares up at the cave-like entrance. It resembles a demon's gaping maw, rimmed with hundreds of icicles for teeth. But this profane place is far from abandoned. Faint lights are visible deep within its icy walls, a mix of blinking Christmas lights and flickering fires. And then Max hears something in the desolate quiet. Christmas music. Eerie and haunting, it echoes from inside the store. Mustering what little courage he has left, Max grips the tire iron and enters the Megamart. Warbling Christmas music echoes everywhere, slowed down and distorted as if played from a warped and broken record. And it is a far cry from the bustling holiday scene. The store is in ruins, ransacked, its dark aisles now covered in 10 feet of snow. Max enters cautiously, eyes darting between dark corners and strange shadows. Giant toy soldiers greet him, all pointing his way to Santa's village. Max doesn't trust them one bit. Moving past the village's empty cottages, Max tries to head deeper into the store, but he's blocked by a wall of snow, mounts, and frozen junk at least 15 to 20 feet high. So with no other way to get up, Max begins to climb on the top of the snow mound. Nervously reaching the crest, Max peeks over the edge, and a mix of horror and wonder fills his eyes as he gawks at...
What the...
Krampus's workshop, like a Christmas card painted by Hieronymus Bosch. The store has been transformed into a musty factory filled with strange, clanking machinery, all being run by dozen dark elves. The machines form a bizarre Ruby Goldberg device cobbled together from equipment scavengered from the store. Bits of washing machines, lawnmowers, exercise gear, and appliances. The store's giant Christmas tree dominate the room, but it's now frozen, broken, and surrounded by piles of leather sacks, like giant treasure mounds scattered as far as they can see. The sacks look as they might contain frozen bodies. Max gapes at this nightmare sight when he slowly realizes he didn't just climb a snowmound. He climbed one of these body piles. Hands shaking, he opens an icy bag to discover a mailman, frozen solid, and next to him, a waitress. And there are hundreds more, at least one bag for every person. Gathering himself, Maxon watches as the elves get to work, and we see exactly what this workshop creates. The elves first toss the frozen bag victims onto a clanking conveyor belt, one by one. Max watches as the belt carries the bodies through the store, sloping upwards until it finally dumps the sacks into a huge vat, at least 20 feet tall and 15 feet wide, welded together from chunks of sheet metal and ripping. A raging fire burns beneath as one frozen transport person after another plummets into the vat, disappearing into a thick layer of steam and smoke into who knows what. More elves stand at the vat's edge, cranking a huge mixing blade that stirs that horrid pulp together, and it gets worse. Thick tubes connect the vat to a network of steaming pipes that split off and feed the pulp into a network of machinery. One machine injects the pulp into a different sort of tiny limbs, heads, and torsos, which are then assembled into new creepy toys before they're boxed up by a team of elves. Another machine mixes the batter with flour, eggs, and spices before they're rolled, pressed, and baked to become fresh, hot gingerbread men, already smiling with maniacal glee. Then a final machine feeds the pulp into a network of stoves and grills rigged together to create a giant chugging oven. A final conveyor belt rolls out from its oven, revealing loaves of fruitcakes. Yes, fruitcakes. The sticky loaves are then wrapped, ribbon, and stuck by the final team of elves. At least now you know what they're really made of. Suddenly, a crying baby echoes. Doors burst open, and Max watches as the freshly frozen victims are wheeled in a court, and baby Chrissy is one of them. The elves are oddly fascinated, poking and playing with her, and it's her screams they savor the most. The elves begin encasing the other frozen victims in burlap bags. Tom, Sarah, Linda, Howard, Dorothy, Jordan, Stevie, and Howard. Even Rosie the bulldog is there. Max Goptus' his entire family is prepped for their doom.
God, no.
Someone's point of view creeps through the mountains of bodies, coming up behind Max, scurrying low and quick until it pounces. Max shrieks, but a hand covers his mouth, quacking at
Beth?
Alive but traumatized. Beth is she's shaken and frostbitten.
Took me. Sandy's game. He's real, Max. He's real. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I mean, right? Are we in hell?
No, that wasn't Santa. We're not in hell. And yes, you guys were jerks, but we gotta save them. Look!
Max points to their frozen family who are now being dumped onto the conveyor belt by the elves, Chrissy included.
Mom? Dad?
Beth, we have to do something. Do you understand?
Yes, Beth nods, trying to shake off her shock.
We do.
Max looks around the store and spots the sporting goods department. Ideas brewing. Oh, the elves are startled by a classic. The familiar voice of Stewart.
Clarence! Help me, Clarence! I don't care what happens to me!
A lead elf points to others to investigate.
Please give me back my wife and kids! I want to live again! I want to live again!
The elves arrive to find rows of TVs playing It's a Wonderful Life with Jimmy Stewart running through the streets.
Merry Christmas, movie house! Merry Christmas, Emporium!
For a moment, the elves seem confused and even touched by the old movie when, bam, the elves turn to see Beth holding a baseball bat, and she has just knocked out a support leg for the display, which tips the TVs over and crushes the elves like bugs, screeching, popping, and convulsing as they're electrocuted. 3 elves are still working on the top of the bat when thunk! An arrow suddenly pierces the lead elf's eye. Black blood spraying everywhere as he plunges into the vat. The remaining 2 elves whirl around trying to find the culprit when thwip, 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 a volley of arrows hits them. They fall in screaming as we whip pan to reveal Max, concealed among the frozen bodies, wielding a hunting crossbow like a tiny assassin. Max crawls under the machine, working his way towards a control box that powers the complicated system of grinding gears and pistons. He pauses as more elves scurry past, rushing towards the commotion Beth just caused. Finally, reaching the control box, Max tries finding a way to shut it down. He turns the knob, but it only makes the conveyor belt move even faster.
Oh, come on.
Beth darts and weaves through aisles with the elves in pursuit. She turns a corner and slides on a patch of ice and grabs a nearby shelf, catching herself. Looking up, she sees the shelves are packed with glass ornaments and snow globes. Crash! Beth knocks them off the shelves, shattering dozens of glass baubles and globes across the floor. The elves turn the corner and slip on the ice, tumbling through shards of glass, howling in pain. Beth smiles to herself until she sees a larger elf racing at her, wielding sharpened blades in each hand. She frantically turns a corner and bolts toward the aisle. Oh, on the conveyor belt, the family is beginning the final ascent to the vat. Panicked, Mac starts tearing at random hoses, wires, and cables, but the machine still won't shut down. In the dressing room, at the same time, the elf scrapes a blade across an icy wall, hunting for Beth. Inside the dressing room, Beth cringes at the sound. The elf starts looking beneath the doors. Spotting a pair of feet, he smiled and kicks open the door, revealing mannequin legs. Whack from behind. Beth hits the elf with her bat again and again, raging as batters elf on the conveyor belt. The family is approaching the vat's edge. Max finally lurches for a fire axe on the wall and thwack! Hits the control box again and again. Shrieking with rage, sparks fly as the giant machine finally clanks to a halt. Max climbs up the conveyor belt and reaches his family, starting shaking them wildly.
Mom, Dad, wake up!
No one stirs. He hears the elves screeching in the distance, chasing after Beth. They're getting closer.
Guys, come on, wake up!
Sarah's eyes pop open. She looks around about to scream, but Max puts his hand over her mouth. Shh. Tom, hands move, frost and ice cracking away, bleary-eyed.
Max!
Max smiles, tears streaming as everyone starts to awaken, frightened and disarmed, but an elf is quietly rising up above, behind Max, wielding a huge wooden mallet. Max spins around as the mallet comes out, but crack! The elf screams and it plummets off the conveyor belt, revealing Beth, clutching the baseball bat.
Help me untie them.
Beth and Max start freeing their family, cutting through the ribbon and the garland wrapped around their hands and ankles. But an eerie chorus of chittering whispers is building around them. Max looks around to see dozens of creepy toys emerging from boxes and shelves all around the store like spiders crawling from their nests.
Faster, Beth, faster!
I'm trying!
The toys start crawling towards the conveyor belt, joined by the bruised and battered elves Beth dispatched earlier.
I almost have it.
But a huge skeletal hand suddenly reaches through the smoke and grabs Beth, puts her up, revealing Krampus looming over them. And this time we finally see him clearly, illuminated by fire and flickering lights. His wrinkled face is like a saggy mask made of leathery skin, sewn together to resemble something, but with dark, hollow eyes that hint at something much worse looking beneath. In fact, his whole appearance seems to be some sort of perverse disguise to conceal a much more sinister entity. With a deep hiss, Krampus gestures to his minions below. The toys and elves scramble to repair the machine. Beth kicks and screams as Krampus sniffs her, his serpentine tongue emerging from his jaws, licking his chapped lips. He then turns and dangles Beth over the bat, about to drop her in when a snowball hits his face.
Let her go!
Krampus pauses and looks down at Max, that tiny, angry mouse. Max stares up defiantly, then he throws something else.
I said let her go!
The spider bell hits Krampus, then bounces to the ground. Krampus cocks his head, considering the command. Surprisingly, he then places Beth back on the conveyor belt with the rest of the family all staring in shock.
Max, what are you doing?
Krampus and Max face off like gunslingers. Max is struggling to stay brave. He has nothing up his sleeve, but he's making this up as he goes along. Then an idea hits him, a very difficult one. Softly.
Take me instead.
The family is stunned.
Max, no!
Max,
No, are you crazy?
Max ignores them as he walks towards Krampus.
Let them go. All of them. This is all my fault. Take me!
Krampus suddenly grabs Max and lifts him into the air like a puppy dangling by its nape. He pulls Max close enough for Max to feel the demon's hot, stinking breath, close enough for him to see a hint of Krampus' true face under the mask of skin and a glamour of the demon's real eyes staring back at him. And as Krampus and Max gaze at each other, something unspoken seems to pass between them. Krampus' darkness and rage seems to soften. It's almost as if the demon's heart is about to grow 3 times. On the conveyor belt, Max's family watches, waiting. On the ground below, even the toys and elves seem oddly moved by Max's courage. But then Krampus quietly starts to laugh. Krampus sneers at his minions. A silent order is given, and the minions spring into action, turning the machine back on.
No! What are you doing? Take me! I said take me!
Shocked, Max helplessly watches as Beth, Howard, Linda, and his cousin go over the edge first, screaming and clutching each other as they disappear into the vets. Coiling, Obi, Tom, and Sarah are next. Krampus then turns and dangles Max over the vet. They stare at each other one last time, Max's eyes full of regret.
I'm sorry.
And then Krampus drops Max into the vat. And from above, we watch as Max and his family fall together in slow motion. We plummet with them, falling down, down, until they're consumed by clouds of steam and smoke, completely filled the frame with pure white as the family screams fade, leaving only the machines chugging and grinding. We pull out from the solid white frame, revealing a window covered with frost. Hazy morning light pours through. We can still hear the machines grinding, although no, it sounds more like a passing snowplow. We continue pulling out from the icy window until we find Max, asleep in bed, until he springs awake, screaming and flailing as he tumbles into the floor with a painful thud.
Oh.
Max slowly sits up and looks around, confused. He then moves to the window and looks outside. It's snowing. Only this time it's not an Arctic storm, but a picturesque white Christmas. Kids building snow forts, FedEx dropping off gifts, and a snowplow clearing the street. Stunned, Max turns to his advent calendar and opens the final door to December 25th. What the hell? Suddenly, familiar voices echo downstairs in the living room. Max races down the steps and into the living room where he's greeted by the Christmas tree, once again standing tall and bright, surrounded by colorful gifts.
It's about time you got up. We were waiting forever.
Beth breezes by and joins the rest of the family.
Yeah, kiddo, we were worried the sugar plum fairies got you.
A warm fire circles. Bing Crosby fills the air. Rosie the bulldog lounges on her back, snoring.
You're all alive.
Tom and Sarah look at each other, slightly worried, and Dorothy plops into a chair, pouring rum into her eggnog.
Barely. Haven't had a hangover like that since the Pope died.
Trying to make sense of this, Max sits down between his parents as Omi walks by with a tray of hot chocolate.
What's up, champ? You okay?
Max stares at Linda, Howard, Jordan, Stevie, Howie, and baby Chrissy. His whole family all here.
Yeah, just a bad dream, I guess.
Enough with this sappy crap. Let's open our damn presents.
Okay, I've got it. Howie, Tom, Aunt Dorothy, Howard, Jordan, Sarah, Beth, Omi, Stevie.
Ribbons and wrapping paper fly. Max braces himself, half expecting something monstrous to leap from the boxes, but it's nothing but a sea of toys, clothes, and gadgets. Linda hands Max one final gift.
This one's for you, Max.
But instead of opening it, Max suddenly gives his parents a big, warm hug.
Whoa! Hey, what's this for?
Nothing. And just Merry Christmas.
Oh, well, Merry Christmas, Max.
Merry Christmas, son.
Max finally opens his gift to find the rusty sleigh bell, and his smile drops. In fact, everyone's smile fades as they gaze at the bell. Dark, surreal memories suddenly resurfacing. Memories of something impossible, something horrifying. The creeping realization that the Christmas magic they all once denied is terrifyingly real. The fireplace flickers as a deep wind shakes the house, and barely audible somewhere in the air, fading sleigh bells. The family stares in total silence, all of them remembering Krampus, his minions, everything. While on the stereo,
Better watch out, you better not cry, better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town, gather round. He's making
and the
a
puzzled, shaken family out of the window and into their front yard, all the way near of Krampus's cave. The family's house is in a snow globe held by Krampus's gnarled hand. He sets it on a shelf amongst many other snow globes. He continues zooming out, discovering that the candlelit cave is filled with shelves upon shelves of similar snow globes. The end.
All right, everybody can hop back on now. Surprise, I have long hair.
Ah.
Full of surprises.
Completely shocked. Love it to my paws.
That was great.
Thank you so much to everybody who is tuning in. You can now see our entire cast. We did have one person who had to sign off early, but you can also see our wonderful narrator. Thank you so much to our cast. I loved seeing everything you all put together. If you're watching Zooming the Movies for the first time, these are the first times that we are reading through these scripts. So the fact that everybody had props and costumes and backgrounds and Krampuses and all of this, it's just amazing, and it was so fun to watch. I can't wait to go back and watch this recording later.
Oh, damn it.
So everybody who's watching, thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed Zooming the Movies presentation of Krampus, and maybe this will inspire you to watch the movie if you haven't seen it already. Well, thank you so much, and I think this really fits the 2020 holiday season, gets all those humbugs out. But hey, we all made it through. As you can see, we're all here. And so everybody watching, thank you so much. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. See you in 2021.